matchup in the SWAC and a potential preview of the conference championship game coming up in December. Alabama State hosting Grambling State from the Cramton Bowl in Montgomery. It's college football on ESPNU. The Grambling State Tigers at 6-1 and the Hornets of Alabama State with a 6-2 mark. But more importantly for these two clubs is what they are doing in conference play right now. Grambling has won the Western Division. They are unbeaten so far in the SWAC. Alabama State is in first place in the East, but they are approaching this as a must-win situation to keep their SWAC championship games hopes alive. Hi, I'm Beth Mowens along with Charles Arbuckle. And Charles, we are anticipating quite a shootout here today. These are the top two offenses in the SWAC and the top two quarterbacks in the conference. And we'll start out with Grambling State and Bruce Eugene.
Well, Bruce Eugene, Beth, is outstanding, and what makes him go is his ability to get the ball down the field. 31 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions this year. You can talk all game long about Bruce Eugene, but you also have to figure in his weapons that he has behind him. Abquan is his running back, and outside Henry Tolbert with 9 touchdowns on the year. That is what makes this offense so effective, the players around him, not just Eugene.
And in the SWAC, just behind Eugene in about every statistical category is Tavares Jackson. He has some skills as well at quarterback for Alabama State.
Don't look back or he's gaining on you. Tavares Jackson is outstanding in what he can do, but he also has great weapons around him. 21 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. His ability also to drive this offense is key. But Keldrick Williams is a name we're going to call a lot of because he has to have a big running game. 5.0 yards per carry. If he has a big game, Tavares Jackson has a big game.
Yeah, the Hornets are hoping that their best defense will be their offense. Keep Grambling off the field. Big matchup in the SWAC. Grambling State and Alabama State coming up. And Alabama State, the top two teams in the SWAC here at the Cramton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. A terrific afternoon. 83 degrees, a slight breeze out of the southwest, partly cloudy skies actually helping to keep the temperature down a bit. And the series has been pretty one-sided. Grambling State in control, 19-8 overall. And for Grambling State, they won here 2 years ago. Alabama State got the win last year en route to the Hornets SWAC Championship. Perhaps the highlight of this series was when they met in the regular season and then for the SWAC title back in 2001. And the kickoff from Grambling State goes through the end zone and out. And the Hornets will start out on their own 20.
Well, Beth, it was interesting that Grambling wins the toss, but they put their defense on the field first. There's a lot of talk about these two guys, Tavares Jackson being one.
Tavares Jackson, the senior from Montgomery, guided the Hornets to last year's SWAC championship, was the MVP. He's been even better this year, completing 63% of his passes.
Well, he has an outstanding ability to make things happen down the field. Keldrick Williams, number 2, and Robert Randolph will be another key factor in today's ball game.
Williams is the tailback behind Jackson on 1st and 10 from the 20. Play action. Across the middle, caught and then dropped. It'll be ruled incomplete. Let's take a look now at the backs and receivers. Williams, Carter, Maddox, Robinson, and Washevsky. They'll look to establish the run with Williams. He's over 3,000 career rushing yards. And the line, Hatton, Beneby, Dunson, Hill, and Warford, 3 redshirt freshmen and 2 seniors, helped generate about 470 yards of total offense per game. Jackson will work out of the gun on 2nd and 10. And the give to Keldrick Williams. Changes direction, gets across the 25, a pickup of 7. Jermaine Mills on the tackle. It'll be 3rd and short. For Grambling defensively, Hatcher, Zachary, Banks, and Dewey. Hatcher causes the most concern. Look for a tight end and a fullback to help try and block him. Bester, Carr, and Jackson, the backers. Carr, 4th in the SWAC in tackles. He's the defensive leader for Grambling. Going to bring up 3rd and 3. Alvance Robinson is the man in motion. Jackson will try and leg it out and will come up short of the marker out to the 29. It'll be 4th and 1. Bassett, Dizer, Mills, and Ben are in the back. Only one touchdown pass allowed this season in 6 SWAC games for this group.
What did this organization say yesterday, this program at Alabama State? We cannot have 3 and outs. If you drop a pass, Jared Alford right away, first play, gets it knocked out. This is what's going to hurt you if you're Alabama State. You give this ball back to Grambling with this much time, you hurt yourself in a ball game like today. Under
pressure, the punt is away. Landry Carter back to receive. And a collision as the ball was coming down. Flags fly. Landry not afforded the opportunity to field that punt. 41 yards on the kick. But the flag and a special teams miscue for Alabama State, and that absolutely killed them last week in their loss to A&M.
It did. I mean, they had a 16-0 lead and give up a huge return on a punt. But their special teams play has just not been good this year, and that's what's hurt them. Against Grambling, you can't give them free yards. Can't be Santa Claus.
Interference on the punt return. The penalty will go against the Hornets. And our first look today at Bruce Eugene, the 2-time All-America, the senior from New Orleans, a candidate for the Walter Payton National Player of the Year Award. He is Grambling's all-time passing leader.
Well, you know what he's going to do. Ball's going to go down the field. They're going to spread it out, and they're going to just try to find lanes against this cover 2 defense. They'll do some variations, but they have to be sure tacklers. Once Grambling catches the ball, they have to stop them there and provide pressure. If you put pressure on Bruce Eugene, that's where they feel that they can win today's ball game.
Charles, you mentioned the 31 touchdown passes this year. He throws a touchdown every 5th completion that he makes. Just a phenomenal number for the senior. Out of the shotgun. Fakes the handoff to Abquan. He's going to throw deep right away, and it is dropped at the 21-yard line. And the big drop there by Clyde Edwards. Quan, Rogers, Edwards, Morris, and Abney are your backs and receivers. Banks, Wilson, Cockrell, Bennett, and Governor up front. They are huge. Average size of the bigs is 6'5", 320, and they will look to push Alabama State around up front. On 2nd and 10 from the 45 of Alabama State, and they're going to run the reverse. Clyde Edwards has a blocker in front of him and is tripped up at the 32-yard line. Pickup of 13, good for a first down. Let's take a look at the Alabama State defense. Parham, Walls, Johnson, and Frazier. Frazier is the sack leader this year for the Hornets, and he's their relentless pass rusher. Hogan, Gresham, and Dupuis. Dupuis, the leading tackler. At times, he could be the only linebacker in the game when they go to their speed team, which we'll tell you about. 1st and 10 for Grambling on their first possession from the 32. Trying to take advantage of some excellent field position due to the punt return miscue from Alabama State. Under intense pressure, and all Eugene can do is launch that one deep.
Hey, Beth, one of the things they're going to do, you see the speed team already out there, and this is what they want to provide. Those offensive linemen want to see big guys. They don't want to go against smaller defensive people. You see, if they block down 71, Derek Governor goes inside, but what that allows is that corner to come off the edge, the safety, whoever, they come in with the smaller guy. So once he goes inside, he has no chance to get back out there. Bruce Eugene is strong enough almost to complete the pass, but that's the kind of pressure that Alabama State has to provide.
We may see them blitz a lot more than they are accustomed to today. The give is to Abquan, picks up a couple inside the 30. Let's finish up the ASU defense, and in the secondary is Foster, Derrico, Coleman, and Toussaint. They will be busy today against the nation's #1 pass offense, but this is a good group as well. Just 10 touchdown passes allowed in 8 games this year. And that's what we're talking about in the trenches. The O-line much bigger for Grambling than the Hornets' defensive front.
And Grambling has to keep it honest by running the football with Abquan occasionally against a smaller defense.
More pressure coming. Eugene just does get it away and takes takes a ferocious hit. In the secondary, Chris Dupuis was coming off the left edge.
Well, Bobby Coleman is coming. You got him at the free safety position, but he comes up late. He walks up. Chris Dupuis is coming after him. Once again, that's the same thing they did before. Linemen are used to counting linemen. They don't always account for the guys that are in the back. And when they do that, Beth, that's what throws them off. They don't even know he's coming off that edge.
Bobby Coleman, the senior from Phoenix City, Alabama, in his first year as a starter, he's got 24 tackles on the year. And they will force Grambling State into a field goal here. And a timeout called by Alabama State. They were trying to hustle somebody, the 12th man, off the field.
Maybe the 13th man. 13th. Trying to stop this Grambling State offense.
Reminder that women's college soccer will cross your way on ESPNU Sunday with 3 conference championships. The SWAC title game at 11 Eastern. It's Mississippi Valley State and Jackson State. Then at 1 o'clock, Eastern Illinois and Sanford in the Ohio Valley. And then at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, Creighton and Drake in the Missouri Valley Women's College Soccer Championship. All begins at 11 Eastern on ESPNU. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Tim Manuel, 47 yards on the attempt. His long this year is 44. Manuel's kick for the lead has the leg, and it is good. A season long for Tim Manuel. And on its first possession, Grambling State scores. They take the early lead 3-0 over the Hornets. 3-0 over Alabama State, and there's a good look at the Hornets head coach Charles Coe in his 3rd season. He is already #1 in Alabama State history in win percentage, taking 72% of his games. He was last year's SWAC Coach of the Year, leading Alabama State to the SWAC Championship. And on the other side for Grambling State, their scoring drive, 6 plays, 15 yards, $135, resulting in the 47-yard field goal by Tim Manuel, who now kicks it off through the end zone. And Alabama State, on its second possession, will start out at its own 20-yard line. Coe, very blunt with us yesterday, saying, hey, we know we can still back into the SWAC championship, but that's not the way we want to get there. Must win in our final 2 games of the season to do it ourselves.
They put themselves in the hole with last week, losing to Alabama A&M. The game they should have won. So many missed opportunities for them. But now you have to be the best, beat the best to be the best. And I think that's what they have to do today in order to get into that situation and feel more comfortable and confident in that SWAC championship game.
Jackson will work out of the shotgun. Has some time. Good protection. Jackson slips up and will go down at the 19. Loses 1 on the play. John Carter was there, as well as David Hicks. Melvin Spears in his 2nd season with a 12-6 record a year ago. Former offensive coordinator here.
It's good talking to him, too, right before the game because, you know, talking about Eddie Robinson and all the history and tradition, he says, even if I don't use everything that we talk about at some point during games, it comes up, a conversation that I've had with Coach Robinson.
He wears that suit on the sideline to honor his mentor. The man who was on that Grambling bench for 57 years. The run up the middle, good for a couple. Keldrick Williams on the carry. Jermaine Mills coming up out of the secondary to help out.
Well, Beth, what you're trying to do against Grambling State is rush against their defense, which is ranked 4th in the SWAC. They give up about 149 yards. Now, their pass defense is pretty good, but they've just gotten so far ahead of teams and just beat them so bad. They're 2nd in the SWAC at 169.7 yards per game. So it's a tall order for this Alabama State offense to really attack where they're strong.
Got a timeout called. 3rd down and 7 coming up for Alabama State. Here's a closer look at the defensive unit for Grambling, and that pass efficiency defense 1st in the conference, giving up just 1 passing touchdown all year.
Well, and that's what they pride themselves on. As good as their offense is, they want their defense to be just as strong. They don't do a lot on defense. They're not flashy. They don't do a lot of smoke and mirrors. They just play a base defense, 4-3, play a lot of 3 behind it. They play some cover 2, and, you know, they mix things in. But what they do is they do it very well. And I think when you have an offense like they do, and Melvin Spears says, you know, we don't need to be very fancy on defense. We just do what we do best. Our offense is so high-powered.
They've got some good guys back there, too. Luther Palmer, the defensive coordinator, told us earlier this week, this is the best secondary, not only in the conference, but in the country. He feels that strongly, particularly their cornerbacks for Grambling. Very solid. 3rd down and 7 now from the 23. They'll work with 3 guys out of the backfield, a couple of guys in the slot. Jackson throws across the middle, complete for the 1st down and more. Out across the 35-yard line to Chris Maddox, the senior from Columbus, Mississippi. 15 yards on the pickup. Well, let's take you back a week ago and why Alabama State feels like it's a must-win situation. They dropped the Magic City Classic after jumping out to a 16-0 lead. They still had the lead in the 4th quarter, but A&M, Kelsey Luke with the 1-yard quarterback sneak for the upset and the victory 31-28. And a tough loss for Alabama State to try and bounce back from. Otherwise, they would have an unblemished record, Charles, in the Eastern Division. But that one loss could be costly because they would lose a tiebreak situation head-to-head with Alabama A&M.
Well, it puts them in a bad position because they are, you know, they looked at it and said, we had so many opportunities in that game. If you talk to their staff and you watch film, watch the game, it stood out that that one punt return seemed to just change the whole momentum. And you said it earlier, their special teams has really struggled. They have to play not well on offense and defense, but special teams.
Jackson goes under center, play action. Eludes the rush and slips around the 40-yard line out to the 41, back to the line of scrimmage. So that'll bring up another 3rd and long situation. David Hicks on the stop.
Well, this is where you, if you're Tavares Jackson, you have to be worried on the other side about Jason Hatcher, the big right end for Grambling. Very good player. You know he's going to provide some pressure, so you have to make sure that you give Tavares Jackson time and block that big defensive end.
They need to get to the 48 for the 1st down. Jackson looks left, now back to the right, trying to set up the screen, and sniffed out nicely by the Grambling State defense. Matt Dewey applying the pressure.
Grambling read that well. That right away they knew it was a screen, and they just flowed over there and got in front of it. Everybody. Dewey, he's a former tight end, so he said, now this is my opportunity. Tavares, throw that ball to me. Come on, man. You know I can catch it.
Got the hands. Another punting situation for Alabama State. Johnson gets the boot off. And the fair catch from Landry Carter will give Grambling State the ball at about the 28-yard line, but another penalty flag down on the punt. 31 yards on the boot. Alabama State has already had one miscue on special teams that helped Grambling get good field position to set up their field goal. This one, however, will go the other way and set the Tigers back.
Well, Alabama State needs anything they can get. And, you know, you have to look at it from a situation. They're not doing what they need to do with offense, so they have to make it happen some kind of way.
That high-powered Grambling offense back on the field when we come back. To return shortly, he went down to the grill and working on some ribs for us for halftime.
I'm flipping them right now, Beth, bringing them back up. We need to get those guys on a direct line. They need to bring that up here.
Tailgate started a couple days ago, getting ready for this matchup. First place in the East and first place in the Western Division in the SWAC. And Ab Kwan with a handoff on 1st down, rumbles out across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Pickup of 8 on the carry, tackled by Demetrius Derrico.
This is what you give up when you try to have not a gimmick defense, but a defense where you take out all your linebackers for one, Chris Dupuy, and then you have all defensive backs. So then they find lanes. If they get past that first line, they're able to get more running yards.
It's essentially a 4-1-6 defense, this speed team that's out there. Grambling State wants to run on it again, and will be close to the first down. Here's what your traditional defense would look like for Alabama State, and then we'll flip it over and show you what the new speed team looks like.
Two of those linebackers will be Billy Gresham and John Hogan. They're going to they're on the bench today. They're going to play a lot of special teams. So then let's flip the script. You have 4 defensive linemen, 1 linebacker, and then you have a DB that'll walk up as a linebacker, but still a defensive back. And then all those defensive backs, kind of an umbrella, making sure that they protect deep in this passing game.
Oh, big play up the middle, and rumbling forward is Ruben Mays, back from an injury. The former transfer from Tennessee finds some space, picks up about 9 on the play.
But when you do that, you pick big 40 and just put him in there. The umpire has to move out the way, because if not, he's going to get run over. You see number 6, Demetrius Derrico. He is that guy that they walk in that box, so to speak, and you'll see him a lot as the linebacker. He's big enough in size as a rover, a strong safety. But Ruben Mays, awful big guy to bring down.
Alabama State will counter now and get Hogan and Gresham back into the game to try and stop the run. Here it comes again. Abd Kwan, nice change of direction. Out close to the 44-yard line. Pickup of 4 on the carry.
And I miss Hogan playing, because when we watched him against Jackson State a few weeks back, he plays with a lot of emotion and enthusiasm. He was on a kickoff that we didn't see. It was away from the ball. He just blows up his guy and just stays on him. He's one of those motor people. It doesn't stop. His motor doesn't stop. So you know he's wanting to get in the game as often as he can.
4 straight running plays for Grambling State, who, believe it or not, have been pretty balanced throughout the season, run and pass plays per game. This one's a busted play. Kwan will try and make something of it. Pickup of 5. Billy Gresham with the tackle. We should mention, by the way, these aren't no-name guys, Gresham and Hogan.
No,
Gresham was the leading tackler last year, and Hogan is the SWAC Defensive Player of the Week this week.
Well, and that's what an offense will do to you. But it looks like Grambling has gone to, when they go to that I-back formation, they bring the fullback in, take a receiver out. They really don't use tight ends. They have a tight end in their package. But when they do that, that forces Alabama State to get back in the traditional 4-3 defense and manage to get against Grambling in the way they want to.
Double wides right, the I formation, and another run play. Kwan is the second guy through, and the second effort gets the first down into Hornet territory. 8 on the pickup, and they are inside the 45.
Watch 33, Chris Dupuy. He should make this tackle in the backfield. He doesn't. When Ab Kwan, who has a low center of gravity, gets through that. Good blocking by the line up front. But when you break that one tackle, that's why they pick up 8 yards, because what did Alabama State say? They have to tackle well against Grambling.
They also said they had to win the time of possession battle, and that right now in this first quarter is going Grambling State's way. That offense able to stay out on the field. Kwan, another nice hesitation move, and picks up 4 to the 40.
Well, Beth, we were wondering if they were going to attack that left tackle position, Grambling State that is, because Greg Tonico was out. J.C. Chambers is out, so they bring in Brandon Walls, and that's where they're really running the football. They're really hitting behind their right guard, right tackle area strong.
That size advantage we were talking about showing itself right now for that big offensive line for the Tigers. Now on second down, out of the gun, the handoff to Landry Carter. And he's close to another first down inside the 35. Picks up 7 on the carry. Travis Rayford, one of those 6 defensive backs, in on the tackle.
Well, what it does is when you have that handoff or that little delay, watch what the linebackers do. Everybody gets sucked one way. And when they go over there, what it does, Beth, it naturally creates blocking lanes for those guys out front. You can see Ruben Mays able to pick up a good block, because when they go inside with the fake, that pause, that minute second that they stay there, it just allows the running back to get fit in, and then also the blockers to fit in.
Offensive coordinator Sammy White told us this week, we want to try and wear them down up front, really pound it at them. That's what they've done on this possession. Eugene on the option keeper tries to dive forward for the first down. Lost one, depending on where the spot is. Yeah, they'll put him at about the 34. And how about that for Grambling?
Ground Grambling. We're used to seeing Air Eugene, but they've gone, you know, but think about it, Beth. If you see that they're going to play a certain way against you in that first drive, they saw something. They made the adjustment. That's what smart teams do. Now you put Grambling in 2nd and long, and if they get in 3rd and long, then you know they're going to go back to that wide open attack.
10th play of the drive, and they've kept it on the ground the whole way. They'll try the bubble screen, complete to Henry Tolbert, the big play man. And he gets to the 25, a pickup of 9 on the play. Brandon Averett on the tackle.
Grambling State receivers, they do a very good job of running in space. They catch the ball and they turn up the field. That's a nice job by Henry Tolbert of catching it and just knifing through with blockers out in front. But receivers have to make people miss. If they can make 1 or 2 miss, you have a propensity for a big game.
Well executed possession so far for Grambling State. Close to 50% on 3rd down this year, and Ab Kwan has enough for another one.
Ab Kwan doesn't get tackled right away. You know, if you look at him and you just thought of him in another uniform, he'd be Jamal Anderson with the number and the size and the way he moves and the legs. I mean, just, you don't bring him down easily. At 5'11", 230 pounds, out of Alabama. The Alabama native. There's 12 of them on this Grambling team. You know, they always play well when they come home, and I know Ab Kwan wanted to have a big game today.
He likes playing against Alabama State. He rushed for over 100 yards in their matchup last year. Ab, Kwan, and Mays are in the backfield, and now Eugene has the green light to change up the play, and he does here. Looking for the end zone and overthrows Clyde Edwards. Good coverage that time by the Alabama State defense and Brandon Averett.
Well, Beth, you make a good point. They trust him enough to let him go and just make plays. Call the play at the line. You're in the flow of the game. I'm sure they give him certain things to look for so he can recognize and then be able to execute them. But as a quarterback, he has a green light to go in there and make a lot of decisions, which you don't often see.
He's already got his degree. He's a 4-year starter. He's rewritten every record in the Grambling State books at quarterback, including surpassing all the marks set by Doug Williams at that school.
And no lack of great quarterbacks at Grambling, Doug Williams being one, but also you think of James Harris, Shaq Harris. And this is just power running the inside. You know, he has a nice ability, Abquan does, to get outside, but they're going to attack him where they're vulnerable, and that's that interior defense. They'll do 2 defensive tackle positions.
Quan already approaching 50 yards here in the first quarter. He's the deep man in the eye. Following Ruben Mays. Good penetration that time by the defense. Billy Gresham, one of the first guys there. And at the bottom of the stack, Charles Parham and Chris Dupuis.
Well, Beth, we talked about it yesterday. How are they going to play the speed defense when they decided to play power football? And you can see Gresham and Hogan. Sounds like a law firm, but you gotta have some legal defense if you're gonna play against the running game. And I think that no matter what Grambling did, they didn't get in the end zone. There has to be a moral victory for this defense 2 times in a row, holding them to potentially only 6 points.
That's a big stop on 3rd down for Alabama State. Tim Manuel on looking for his 2nd field goal. This one from 32 yards, and it is good. Grambling State with a couple of chances for touchdowns. They will settle for a couple of field goals and the 6-0 lead. Points on their first 2 possessions here today. Annual field goals, the difference in this matchup. 1:13 to go in the first quarter, and Manuel set to kick it away. Foster and Williams are the deep men, and again, a boomer through the end zone. Unreturnable for the Hornets. An impressive scoring drive again for Grambling State. They played some smash mouth, did Melvin Spears and his Tigers, and just ran right through the Hornets until they bent but didn't break. Down deep in their own territory, forced another field goal. 15 plays, 12 of them were rushes.
Well, what it does, though, even though they don't score a touchdown, if Alabama State goes 3 and out, that offense comes back and quick strikes them. this is what you have to have if you have a team that's trying to play a speed defense against you. You need to wear them out. And it's hot on that field. Even though it's a breeze, that field turf gets a little heat. It generates some down there.
And that defense has been out there for a long time for Alabama State. Now their offense will go to work. Tavares Jackson. The pass. And is it intercepted? Looked like it went off the back of the intended receiver, Chris Maddox, and into the arms of David Hicks. And Grambling State has the turnover in the football.
Well, David Hicks with that fast movement, and you can see Alvance Robinson is still down. Tavares Jackson fakes one way, but it doesn't hold the linebackers. It doesn't hold anybody. That's just a big hit, and right out of the air, great catch by David Hicks. The ball is popped up, and right away he's able, Jermaine Mills knocks it up or is right there on the play, and the ball just goes right into Hicks' hands.
Big hit from Jermaine Mills, and Hicks the beneficiary. Alvance Robinson was the player banged up as he walks off. And now the Hornet defense really up against it.
They really weren't fooled on that one. I mean, right away they were able to get there and knock that ball out.
Grambling State in control with the 6-0 lead, knocking on the door again. 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line.
Beth, I like sudden change offense. If you get a turnover, you go right for the score.
Ruben Mays tries to rumble forward, picks up a couple. Chris Dupuis again in on the tackle.
Well, and you're going against the strength of Alabama State when they have Gresham and Hogan in there. So I don't know if those plays are designed very well. I think you go right up in the air and you attack their corners right after a big play like David Hicks had on that last one, on that interception.
This is not the speed team defensively. This is the traditional unit right now for the Hornets. 2nd down and 8. The pitch, Ab Quan. Gresham cuts him off and forces Quan to head back to the inside where the Hornets have some help.
Well, Gresham won't show up in the stat sheet for that tackle, but he should get it. This is a great opportunity for Ab Quan. He has open field. He's there, but he hesitates because Gresham is moving in on him quickly. And that's just a nice move. Then you have 4 or 5 Hornets. Stinger. That was a great play right there by that defense.
Good pursuit by Gresham, and that'll take care of the first quarter. 6-0. Grambling State, they have dominated, not as you would expect through the air, but on the ground. Ab Quan carrying a lot of the load. They've also forced the turnover and are back knocking at the door. Here in Montgomery, Alabama, 6-0 Grambling State in first place in the SWAC West against Alabama State in first place in the SWAC Eastern Division. And Grambling State has a 3rd down and 5. They can pick up a 1st down at the 1-yard line. Eugene with 4 receivers, Quan in the backfield. Bruce throwing for the end zone. And it is caught for the touchdown. A penalty flag down on the play.
And it looks like that penalty is going to be against the defense. Pass interference, so it should stick.
Tim Abney, who has a touchdown catch in each of the last 3 games on the reception in the end zone.
Jonathan Banks, look, he's just towering over the official 77.
Defensive holding. The touchdown stands, and Grambling takes the 13-0 lead. And if they can tack on the extra point.
That's 4 games with now 5 touchdowns for Tim Abney.
6-yard touchdown strike to Tim Abney. And Manuel missed the extra point. So it stays 12-0. Grambling State. Eugene through the air. Abney, a terrific catch in traffic. Last week against Texas Southern, Grambling forced 5 turnovers, resulting in 24 points. And here in the first half, they forced their first turnover of the day, and they turn it into 6. The touchdown strike, 6 yards. Bruce Eugene to Tim Abney for the 12-0 lead. And the kick headed towards Desmond Foster. He's the top kick returner in the SWAC. And he's bottled up nicely by the Grambling State special teams. There's another look at that last touchdown.
Well, you get a chance to see Abney, who's slotted right there where the arrow is pointing. He's going to, and watch what he does. He does a very good job of just staying and looking. When he sees his quarterback gets in trouble, he goes right to the ball, attacks it. Kerry Frazier's coming off the corner. Abney's eyes are right there. He doesn't care where Henry Tolbert is. They're going to argue about that later in film session. Tolbert said, that was my touchdown. That would have been 10. Abney will say, no, I needed number 5, so we're even, buddy.
I'm 6'1", you're 5'11". I went out on that one. Jackson on the quarterback draw. Jackson busting loose out across the 40 to the 45-yard line. 26-yard pickup for Tavarius. Jermaine Mills chased him out of bounds.
Sometimes you need your main guy to make a big play. He needs to be the big-time guy. And that's what Tavarius Jackson does right there. His line opens holes for him. They give him an opportunity to get inside and make a play. Off the fake, it holds those linebackers over, and you can see them coming over, getting blocked. Good blocking up front, but also good run by Tavarius Jackson and a penalty on the end of it.
They're going to tag on some more. That run play by Jackson, more yards than their first 3 drives combined.
It's like you, Beth. You make this broadcast better. I'm just coming along for the ride. You make the big plays. I'm just a role player. So, you know, that's Tavarius Jackson. He's making the big play.
Can I call some more quarterback draws? I want the ball. Jackson this time will hand it off, and a lot of running room. And Alabama State now with some momentum. Robert Randolph on the carry, and another late flag coming out of the secondary.
Well, down the field late, you have linemen that get excited and push people around. And Robert Randolph, after a great run, is going to, there's some of these yards are going to be pulled away from him, I think, because if they caught the first person, it was James Brown. You know, the second guy always gets caught.
And it will indeed go against Grambling State, or against the Hornets.
We got offenses going now. Robert Randolph averages about 6.5 yards, and that's why. Good blocking up front. You need guys to be in front of you. Derek Warford with a nice block out in front of him. You don't see it. You don't see why it happens, but James Brown is just enthusiastic. He goes down there and just hits a guy late, and that's what they see. Spears is upset because clearly he wants his guys to step up and play defense.
Yep.
He's talking under his breath.
Those last 2 plays were the best yet for Alabama State.
That's the one thing you don't want your coach doing.
When they start mumbling, that's not a good sign. Randolph is in the backfield with Tavarius Jackson, the senior from Montgomery. The give is to Randolph. He stumbles inside the 40. Pickup of 5 on the play.
Beth,
Jason Banks on the tackle.
Excuse me, look at the step in the linemen. They even have an enthusiasm, because linemen want to block. They want to run block. And watch those guys up front. They're just going to come off the football, knocking people around. Good block, just pushing people around, making sure that there's some movement there. And finally, they're going down the field. Ivora Hall, 75, pushing people over. That was a nice run.
3rd in the country in total offense is Alabama State. They want to get into that red zone. They have scored on their last 23 trips inside the 20-yard line. Randolph gets another good push from the O-line and is close to the first down.
And that time they bring Sylvester Hatton. See, and you see the offensive lineman now really getting into it. James Brown is excited. And you see Sylvester Hatton, when he comes around underneath, those big offensive linemen know. They clearly know that they don't want to, the big defensive guys don't want to look them up. Even if they don't make a block, they're still in front and moving them around, so that allows your running back to find holes in that defense.
Stymied in their first 3 possessions. Now Alabama State showing life on offense. Down 12-0 here early in the second quarter. At home against Grambling State in what the Hornets say is a must-win situation. if they want to get back to the SWAC championship game. The pass complete to Alvance Robinson, the senior from Dayton, picks up a couple. Zaire Wilburn, the sophomore from Houston, Texas, on the tackle.
Well, Bet, these defensive backs are all over the Alabama State receivers. Every time they catch the ball, they're right there with them. Alvance Robinson, you remember that other play earlier, Jermaine Mills with the big hit, and that time Zaire Wilburn, they're running with him. If he comes underneath, they know, I got to run with him. I got to trail him, be in his hip pocket, and make sure he doesn't make a big play.
They'll keep a close eye on Robinson. He had 10 catches for 145 yards last week in the loss to Alabama A&M. 2nd down and 8. Jackson again calls his own number. Legs it up for the first down inside the 20-yard line. Jermaine Mills again forced to come up from the secondary to make the stop.
Hey, and Bet, the thing is, watch the defense hold. Watch right there. That fake holds him just enough, and he's able to get inside. Dimitri Carr has to be out there as a middle linebacker. He has to flow and fill in that area. He doesn't get there. Tavares Jackson's able to get outside. The other thing about Tavares, he's a little bit quicker and faster than I think people give him credit for.
What we're seeing is the result of a lot of film work over the summer from Tavares Jackson. A couple hours a day. He was watching himself from the last couple of years to see where he could improve. The pitch to Randolph, and Robert rumbles down to the 12-yard line, picks up 7 on the play.
The senior out of Union Spring, Alabama. That you can see. Have you noticed the crowd also, Bet, getting into it when Randolph? I mean, you can sense that they're happy and excited to see 44 running that football hard and strong.
Another big carry from Randolph, who is getting close now, 10 yards away from 2,000 for his career. Pretty nice luxury to have both Randolph and Williams to turn to in the backfield. It's going to be Robert Randolph again. Those legs keep churning, gets him close to another first down inside the 10-yard line. Dimitri Carr, the middle linebacker, on the tackle.
We talked about it. This is the way that Alabama State was going to have to play the game and shorten those offensive possessions for Grambling, but also this is their most effective way with Robert Randolph or Keldrick Williams. Keldrick Williams is the starter, but Randolph, when he comes in, he just provides a spark.
Been able to run the ball more effectively on this drive. 3 guys in the bunched set left for Jackson. Randolph the lone setback. He'll follow that bunch of receivers. Stood up on the initial hit by Carr, but able to fall forward to about the 6. Joshua Bester corralled him and brought him down.
Chris Maddox out front blocking. Normally don't see receivers out there, but also too just good strong running. You see number 3 coming to your screen, and also there's no Grambling defender really there until he gets down the field. We talked about Keldrick Williams and Randolph. Keldrick Williams with the callus problem, maybe another reason why we're seeing more Robert Randolph.
Trying to play through some pain on his foot. Now it's 1st and goal for Alabama State. Randolph is the deep back in the eye behind Lee Carter. Play action from Tavares Jackson. Loses his helmet and then goes down at the 8-yard line. Loses a couple, and again a late penalty flag for an altercation around the 5 as another Hornet lost his helmet. Avora Hall.
Well, not enough time. Good coverage here by the Grambling defense. You can see jerseys being pulled, though. Right there, Jermaine Mills is pulling the jersey, but also the helmets are coming off. And down the field, another helmet comes off. Tavares Jackson almost got his head taken off. But once again, the second man always gets caught.
Grambling pointing as if it's a personal foul against the Hornets, and that is what it is. The 15-yarder inside the 10-yard line, and Charles Coe is not at all pleased.
Well, you have opportunity to get yourself in a position, and Ivora Hall, 2 times on this drive, the offensive linemen have caused their offense to lose 30 yards. One by Ivora Hall and one by James Brown. You know, you want to be seen but not heard from if you're an offensive lineman. Mama wants to hear about you having a good block and not a penalty, and that's normally when we say something about him.
So instead of 2nd down from the 6-yard line, they're all the way back out at the 24. 5 receivers for Jackson. Here comes Hatcher on the blitz. forces Jackson up into the pocket. And Tavares does a nice job of getting inside the 20 and picking up 6 on the play.
Free play there. Hatcher was offside. And a good thing for Tavares Jackson, he's able to run because Hatcher was coming after him.
That's why it was so quick to get back there.
I mean, Hatcher comes off the end, and he's there almost on him right away. Tavares Jackson feels that pressure and moves up the field. But now they're going to get some of those yards that they lost back. And the coaching staff for Grambling was almost, they were at the numbers. They were throwing things down because they saw that as well.
Alabama State driving. They trail 12-0, under 10 minutes to go here in the first half. A couple of field goals and then a touchdown with a missed PAT for Grambling State. And now it is Melvin Spears' turn to be the upset coach down there on the sideline.
Not very expressive at all. Very passionate, though. That's the one thing you will get from Melvin Spears, the passion behind this program.
He knows about these battles in the SWAC, a former quarterback at Alcorn State, and has been an assistant. And then the pass into the end zone dropped by Chris Maddox, but another penalty flag and some interference coming up.
I think it may be Chris Maddox. He extends the arms and pushes on the defender. You know, they could call this either way, and it looks like the Alabama State guys are saying the opposite way, but I saw Chris Maddox push his hands out. You know, normally that's when you as a receiver, the only receiver I ever knew that could do that was Michael Irvin. And you see the push, but that should have been a catchable ball. Now, if they call it the other way, it'll go against Brian Langford. But right before they disengage, you can see Chris Maddox just extending his arms. And that's normally when they call it against the offense. But it looks like this is going against the defense.
Will be against Langford.
And it could be a situation where Langford had him wrapped up and then he just tries to slide away from him.
How about this for Alabama State? 3 of 6 in the red zone in their first 2 games, but they have been perfect ever since. 23 for 23, 18 touchdowns and 5 field goals. And they are back inside that red zone, inside the 10 now.
Well, let's think. They were in and then they went out due to penalty.
Do we count this twice?
No. Get double time. But Melvin Spears doesn't care. He's highly upset. Because what I saw up here clearly was that Chris Maddox was running a corner route, pushed off just enough, I thought there would be another penalty against the offense, which you don't see often.
Let's see if we can pick it up on this replay.
And you're going to see
Maddox is 3.
There's holding there, so that's where the push looks like. So good call by the official.
Yep.
That's why he had to extend his arms, because he would have lost his jersey.
He had to get Langford out of his jersey. Hey, Tuesday night, the college basketball season tips off on ESPNU. We got a doubleheader for you. The 2K Sports Coaches versus Cancer Classic. Cornell against St. Francis of Pennsylvania. That'll be at 6 Eastern. And then Bethune-Cookman and the 16th-ranked Syracuse Orange at 8 o'clock. Upstate New York well represented with Cornell and Syracuse at the 2K Sports Coaches versus Cancer Classic. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
Well, Beth, Alabama State scores here. We have ourselves a ball game.
Sure do.
And it starts off with Tavares Jackson, his legs, getting them down the field. And then some penalties against Grambling State, but also some penalties against Alabama State. But now they're in their comfort level. This is their comfort zone.
And a Hornet defense that bent but did not break on those first 2 possessions could have very easily given up touchdowns, and they made the Tigers settle for a couple of field goals to keep it close. 1st and goal. 3 wideouts go left. Jackson again on the keeper. Runs right. The spin move gets him down to the 1-yard line. Ball pops loose, but the officials say he was down. DeMichael Dizer on the stop.
That looked like a mix-up in the play, because Robert Randolph and Sylvester Hatton run into each other. Watch 77 on your left. He's going to run into Randolph, but maybe it was designed that Randolph saw he was coming. It just didn't look like the play was designed properly, but Tavares Jackson makes a nice run of it.
2nd and goal from the 1. Carter Randolph in the secondary, and the handoff for the touchdown goes to Keldrick Williams.
24 of 24, red zone efficiency.
His 5th rushing touchdown of the season. And we got ourselves a ball game here with 8:33 to go in the first half.
And the field goal team now, they're missing someone. They're calling. They don't want to use a timeout here. They're having to force, hurry up and get people on the field. They don't have enough time to wait. About 11 seconds, 10.
Unbelievable. They missed a couple of PATs last week. Anthony Johnson. The extra point is good. That was Marlon Lynch that was rumbling out there. And he's the happiest guy in the stadium right now that went through the uprights. 12-7. Williams gets the Hornets on the board. Last 2 seasons, Keldrick Williams with the 6-yard run, capping off an 81-yard drive. And for the first time today, the Hornets able to take some time off the clock. And Billings kicks it through the end zone. Grambling State will take over at its own 20. Here's another look at the run by Williams.
Well, good power running game right there. You have guys out front, Lee Carter and Robert Randolph, and the offensive line, Sylvester Haddon, Ryan Beneby. Just good, strong power running game that last drive. Keldrick Williams, you know what I like on the sideline during the break. He goes over to Robert Randolph and kind of looks at him, and you can almost see him from up here thanking him for getting Alabama State down there, and he was the beneficiary of that good drive.
Randolph did most of the work on the drive. Williams finishes it off. They are a good tandem in that backfield for the Hornets. And now Grambling State with that high-powered offensive attack. Eugene to the air, makes the completion close to midfield. Clyde Edwards on the catch, and we figured it was only a matter of time, Charles, before they started throwing it a bit more.
Well, they opened it up and said, we're going to put the ball in his hands, and good fake in there and just hold the linebackers and everybody just enough in that seam area. That's a good play and a good throw. Bruce Eugene, he can make all the throws. You know, coming back from that bad ACL injury he had last year, another flag on this play as well. You know, the thing is, he's able to throw the ball down the field so well that you can get in the power running game and then just let him open the field up.
The philosophy is if you get open, you get the ball. And Bruce Eugene spreads it around quite nicely. 7 touchdowns a week ago to 6 different guys, and he throws that one incomplete, trying to set up the screen for Quan.
The best thing to do against the screen, they go in man. They go cover 1, where they have one guy deep and everybody's locked up, and that's what made them force Eugene to throw the ball away, because Quan was covered, the receivers were covered, and you have one guy back deep. Like, everybody's locked up on a man. You can see guys moving around to make sure that they have the right person. And that screen was never going to get off. Now, had they completed the pass, they would have still been running.
Bruce, 6'1", 260. Working out of that shotgun with 4 receivers. Again, the pass completed to Henry Tolbert at the 44-yard line. A pickup of about 8. Desmond Foster on the coverage.
Does a good job also, Eugene, of not trying to be greedy. That was cover 2, and you let those 5 underneath guys get back a little bit farther, and then you just hit the open receiver. 2 deep receivers way in the back, and then you have underneath guys, because you know the cornerbacks are going to go off. You're going to get that curl flat guy off. If you can get a receiver right in that area, he'll pick up a nice little 8 yards, and that's what happens.
And Tolbert has become Eugene's favorite guy this year with 9 touchdown catches. He's averaging 20 yards per catch, and a fumble on the snap. Scramble for the loose ball, and Eugene was able to hang on.
Wow. Bobby Coleman was right there, and Eugene still had not had possession of the ball. Oh, man. Watch, the ball goes right up. I don't think Eugene was even ready for the snap, and then he's down on the ground. The ball is still loose. You see right by his legs, and Bobby Coleman can't quite get to it. Oh, wow. a 3rd and 2, that hurts you.
Yep.
Oh man, if you're Grambling, you think I got a good drive going, ball just comes right through his hands. Now Grambling is having some problems, not having enough men on the field.
Tim Manuel on to punt. Jay Peck is back deep at his own 10-yard line. Trying to angle that for the sideline. Peck with the fair catch at the 11. 32 yards on that boot. 6:09 to go here in the second quarter. Alabama State trailing Grambling State 12-7. And we'll take a timeout here in Montgomery. College football on ESPNU. ESPNU's college football from the Cramton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. The top 2 teams in the SWAC. Grambling State with the lead over Alabama State 12-7. Beth Mowens along with Charles Arbuckle. A terrific afternoon here in Montgomery. And what Alabama State has been calling a must-win situation all week. And they looked very impressive on that last scoring drive that resulted in the touchdown.
Very nice look there. Had to struggle early, but that touchdown rings true for them. Now they hope they have some momentum.
Keldrick Williams on the carry. Jason Hatcher got the tackle.
Well, they did a very good job on that drive also, too, of incorporating Tavares Jackson in the run game. He looked tentative in the first couple of drives, but that last drive, he really looked comfortable getting down the field.
Williams' numbers on the season, he is number 3 all-time at Alabama State, number 10 in SWAC history. And Jackson does a nice job of taking the snap from Ivora Hall to force the offside penalty here, I think, coming up against Grambling.
Grambling's going to say they had a player jump before, but it always, the defenders got it. They have to say it wasn't against me. But every center in America knows that if you get a guy to jump off sides, especially a tackle, snap the ball, freeze play.
Sometimes I think the tendency, Charles, is for a quarterback that has relied a lot on his legs, that wants to prove he can throw the ball as well. There's that indecision. I don't want to run with it. I want to stay in the pocket. And Jackson has done a nice job of recognizing, hey, there are times here when I can run with the football. Puts it up there under pressure, incomplete to Alvance Robinson.
Well, he didn't get a chance. Dimitri Carr was coming on a blitz, trying to get it off to Alvance Robinson. I don't know how he was able to even get the ball off. And Grambling had set back and played base, but then they come 54, watch him, right there. Now, Keldrick Williams goes out too far. That's his man. And when he tries to slide back over, 54, Dimitri Carr is right there.
Grambling State loves the hard-nosed play of Carr at that middle linebacker spot, the senior from Farmerville, Louisiana. 4th in the conference in tackles this year. On 2nd down and a couple, 3rd down and a couple, Williams has the edge and the first down. The juke move in the secondary as he falls forward to the 45-yard line. 25 yards on the pickup, tripped up by Jermaine Mills.
And now they're in a no huddle. They're in a no huddle. They're really trying to go fast. They're going fast and moving along, not allowing Grambling to set up.
Different look here for the Hornets. On 1st and 10, Williams again with the carry. Spins at midfield, picks up 7.
Tempo now. They're playing a much different tempo. Alabama State is. They're trying to get Grambling tired now. They've had the ball a long drive the last time. Now they're trying to give them a taste of their own medicine.
2nd down and a few. And Jackson nowhere to go. Jason Hatcher draped all over him in the backfield.
Jason Hatcher didn't go for that fake at all. Tavares was just faking. He was just faking and faking. Jason was like, come here.
I'm the sack leader on this team. I'm the tackles for loss leader on this team. You're going to have to do better than that. The pass caught by Brandon Horace for a short pickup. And appears to have enough for the first down to the 43-yard line. Zaire Wilburn on the coverage.
Keldrick Williams had an outstanding block on Jason Hatcher. Hatcher had to go back and get some of his helmet. I mean, he underneath just got under his 6'5" frame and just hit him right under the chin, almost like those little pop-up blocker heads you used to have when you were a kid. Great block.
Again, they'll go to the hurry-up. Jackson off the pump fake across the middle, incomplete, overthrew Alvance Robinson.
I wanted to see Alvance reach up for that, though. I think that's one of those plays right there. You got to go for the ball. And he has a tendency sometimes to make spectacular plays, but also to have a tendency to drop some footballs.
If I may reach back into the 70s, I believe your reference was for the Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
That's what it was. I couldn't think of it, but good call.
I was a young girl, really young. Jackson again will keep it, and again Hatcher says, nothing doing. Loss of 1 on the play.
Keldrick Williams again with the nice block. Watch 2. Boom. That is a great block inside, but then also too it just compiles everything inside. Keldrick Williams, one of the things that he does well is pass protection. And you can see right there, if you come in, you better be prepared to take a shot, because normally people think, well, he's 5'9", he's only 210, but he plays with a great center of gravity, and he knows how to get up under you with his pass.
Big third down now coming up. 3rd and 11 from the 43-yard line of Grambling State. Tavares Jackson has the time. Now will scramble. Run out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Picks up about 3 on the play. And it will be 4th down.
Well, I just thought for sure that they would keep the tempo going. Once they stopped, the receivers didn't really do a good job of getting open. When it's man coverage, you can't just run in front of somebody and turn and post them up like a basketball player. You got to move away from guys or cross or keep running, and they didn't do that.
Decision time now for Charles Coe and the offensive coordinator Chris Kapilovic with 3 minutes to go in the half. The offensive unit is still out on the field here with a 4th down coming up. Now they're going to call the timeout to talk it over a little bit longer. Ball's on the 40-yard line. It's a 4th and 8.
Well, clearly, when you have receivers running down the field, and Cap should be upset. He got guys running man routes. Have man coverage, and you're running zone routes. It's just not good.
And on the other side, Melvin Spears looking for a big stop from his defense. Of course, the tradition that he looks to continue started with this man right there, Eddie Robinson. 408 career wins over a 57-year career. That is tops in Division I AA. Departed in 1997, and Melvin Spears had the opportunity to coach 1 year with him, his first year back. Just the numbers, unbelievable what Eddie Robinson was able to do here.
I can remember getting a letter from Grambling State and keeping it. Some letters you kind of gave away or you weren't worried about, but it was just the fact that Eddie Robinson sent a letter to me, as a recruit coming out. And I think that's the thing that he's been able to do for that program for so long. I mean, the list is endless of the names that come, and Melvin Spears can attest to that as well. Doug Williams, Charlie Joyner. I mean, just so many outstanding guys.
And Melvin still talks with Coach Robinson every week, he told us. Now on 4th down and 8 from the Grambling 40. Alabama State will go for it. And movement in the slot from Tavares Boyd. And the decision is made for the Hornets. The punting unit will come on.
Well, if you're the receiver, all you have to do is wait for the ball. You can see the ball move. And Tavares Boyd, not a very good play on his part. That's 2 plays in a row where the receivers don't help Tavares Jackson or this Alabama State offense. Running zone routes against man coverage and then coming off sides. That hurts you.
Anthony Johnson now on to punt to Landry Carter back at his 10-yard line. Carter on the run and the fair catch at the 25-yard line. 30 yards on the punt, and the Tiger fans wanted the flag. They thought Carter was interfered with. Well, the ESPN College Football Encyclopedia is the biggest, richest reference guide ever published in the history of college football. Profiles of your favorite teams, all the NCAA records and statistical leaders, box scores for all your major bowl games. It's all in the ESPN College Football Encyclopedia, available now wherever books are sold. And one of our favorite tools before every game to check out the encyclopedia, where you would find that this Grambling State team has won 9 National Black College Championships under Eddie Robinson. They added a couple more under Doug Williams in 2001, 2002. One of the most storied programs in the nation. Melvin Spears hoping to add to the score here before halftime. Bruce Eugene, he's going to call his own number. And Eugene lumbers out to the 35, picks up 4, close to the first down.
Well, Beth, if you would have told me the game was 12-7 going into halftime, possibly if it stays like this or be this close in the second half, second quarter this late, I'd have really been surprised because of Grambling State's ability in that long drive. You thought they would have scored and just kept scoring. But Alabama State has done a very good job of not allowing them to dictate the tempo of the game.
Grambling averages 39 points per game. Alabama State 34 points per game. Nice check down by Eugene. The completion to Henry Tolbert, and then the big lick by Clyde Edwards gets him an extra couple of yards.
I don't know how he got that football off. I thought he was throwing it away. Who was the underhand pitcher in the...
Dan Quisenberry?
Yeah, Quisenberry. He had a number of them, but that was almost underneath. Golly.
A nice sidearm job from Eugene. Will bring up second and short. Eugene over the middle, caught inside the 30 to the 20-yard line.
Grambling has been setting this play up that with cover 2, when you know you're vulnerable if your linebackers don't get back deep enough, and your safeties have to stay far enough back, and that's just a great throw and catch by those two.
36 yards to Reginald Jackson. To the end zone, Eugene to Tolbert, touchdown.
Alabama State comes with the blitz. They don't get there. No pressure at all. And there's one man free, and he's running down there for 6. Now that's his 10th touchdown on the year.
That is the most in the SWAC. And Eugene and Tolbert hook up again for Bruce, his 33rd touchdown pass of the season.
You have 2 guys playing for the Walter Payton Award, and Bruce Eugene, 2 touchdowns so far today.
Extra point is good. It took him about 30 seconds. Or check that, a minute 30 to drive down the field after Alabama State missed on the opportunity on 4th down.
Well, they come with the blitz and they blow the coverage. No one on Henry Tolbert. That's just 7-on-7 at practice where a guy just falls down because there's no one there. And that was one of the easiest touchdowns they're going to have this year.
21 yards to Henry Tolbert, the junior from Birmingham, Alabama. The converted running back who is just having an outstanding season at wideout for Grambling State. And that quick strike ability of this Grambling offense gives them the 19-7 lead with a $1.50 to go here in the first half.
Every time I see Melvin Spears, I just keep thinking of the Outcast sound, so fresh and so clean, you know. It's not normal that you see coaches on the sideline, but as a tribute to Eddie Robinson, who always wore a suit. That's why Melvin Spears dresses that way. But, boy, can they strike quick with that offense.
Manuel is set to kick things off. And he'll run this one up the middle to one of the short men who was down on a knee when he had possession. You know, they'll say he was down at the 23-yard line. That was Desmond Washevsky.
Well, you see them coming with the blitz, and then that just leaves Henry Tolbert open. There's two receivers outside, one defender. And Travis Rayford comes over late, so maybe he had coverage. They just didn't communicate well in that secondary.
5 plays, 75 yards, 73 of those through the air. And Tolbert finishes it off. .127 left here in the first half for Alabama State to work with. Tavares Jackson looks underneath, drops it off to Alvance Robinson, who can't hang on.
As much as he makes big plays, he will drop a lot of passes if you watch him over the course of the season. And it's got to be frustrating not only for him as a receiver, because you know sometimes it's easy catches. But if you're the quarterback, when you're going to take a shot like that, you want your receiver to hold on to the football. There's no excuses there.
Second and 10. 5 receivers now for Tavares Jackson. Looks right, now comes back, tries to set up the screen, and again read perfectly by that Grambling State defense.
Their defense knows now. They have a chance maybe to get the ball back, and Tavares Jackson has to be upset too with how his team is playing. You know, you have drops, you have receivers not running good routes. You know, you can't do it all by yourself, and I'm not saying he as a quarterback. The one thing I do like is, though, he's not getting in anyone's face here. I'm sure when they get in the locker room, there'll be some choice words said between Coach Cole, the receivers, and Tavares Jackson.
Tavares now 3 of 10 for just 22 yards on the day. It's been a frustrating affair through the air, and another incomplete pass. And on this possession, they only ran 19 seconds off the clock, and now Grambling State will get the football back.
Now that's a bad pass by Tavares Jackson, having an open receiver and not being able to capitalize with Chris Maddox being open. But you make a great point, Beth. Not enough time off the clock.
4 straight incompletions. We thought it would be a high-powered, high-scoring game as you see the ranks of the top 2 teams offensively in the SWAC. The end-over-end kick, Carter will have a chance to return it. And he is gobbled up by Robert Randolph at the 45-yard line.
Good special teams play by Robert Randolph. Well, they've struggled here in the special teams game, but Big 44 gets down there and makes a nice tackle. Good blocking, good protection with the bad snap. And Randolph, you can see him coming down the lower part of your screen, and he's going to show up. Just makes a tackle and then pulls him down.
You know those offensive guys, when they get on special teams, they want to lay a hat on somebody.
Yeah, they want to pay them back. Yeah, all the times they've been hit.
Well, right now, this Alabama State defense needs a stop. Bruce Eugene has 58 seconds to work with and 55 yards away from the end zone. Wide open out in the flat is Clyde Edwards. He's got a first down and more to the 34-yard line.
Well, Grambling State has got its groove back now, Beth. They've been able to find open receivers, and even with the blitzes that are coming, they're just not getting there in enough time. And Bruce Eugene, out of that shotgun, just a bad missed tackle, too. You know, Clyde Edwards, he's going to make some people miss, but you got to have your head up and make a good tackle.
Big cushion for the receiver on that play. 5 guys again will head out for the Tigers. Pressure coming up the middle. Eugene fights it off, gets the pass away, incomplete.
He has shown so many times when he's wrapped up by defenders, still able to get the ball off.
Situation where that girth may be used to his advantage.
You being nice, the girth. Billy Gresham, though, although he's lost 58 pounds and still they talked about it, he needs to lose some more. But Gresham at, what, 215?
That's a 45-pound difference in favor of the quarterback against the middle linebacker.
But, you know, he can move well enough even after that knee surgery.
2nd down and 10. Eugene all day to throw it. Still looking. And it's dropped across the middle by Tolbert.
This Alabama State defense is clearly tired because Bruce Eugene had 9 hours to throw that football. I mean, he's just sitting back there thinking about what book he's going to read tonight and what he's going to do later for dinner. And, yeah, I think I'll throw the football now. Yeah, maybe. And look what happens. My receiver drops the ball. I should have read the newspaper. Maybe he would have caught it.
37 seconds to go now in the half. 3rd and 10. From the 34-yard line of the Hornets. Eugene gets some air underneath it, looking for Carter, and the flags came down before the football did on that play. And the coverage by Chris Dupuis, that's a wide receiver lined up with a linebacker.
Well, Carter plays running back, but he's got the ability like a receiver. Yep. Good point. I mean, they can put him in the slot. This is an uncomfortable position for a linebacker. I mean, when you're running on air like that, you want to have guys in front of you instead of behind you. They don't know anything else but to hold. Now, 33 is at the low part of your screen, and he's running down the field. He would like to keep Landry Carter on his side or in front of him, but once he gets by him, he knows there's nobody back help. No help deep. He said, I'll take the next best thing. You know, I really want fish, but I got to take chicken because I'm scared of that touchdown. They're going to get on me.
15 yards was better than 33 in that situation. 1st down now from inside the 20 with 29 seconds to go in the half. Blitz coming again. Eugene looking for Carter on the exact same play. Incomplete.
Carter ran an outstanding route. Wow. He set it up this time. Now, Chris Dupuis said, okay, I'm going to cover him inside. He's not getting inside me. So Landry Carter says, okay, let me show you something. I'm going to fake inside, and then boom, I'm up top on you. Dupuis didn't even have a chance to get his hands on him that time.
Just incomplete.
I love these little games they play. Receiver, linebackers. They're setting things up.
Looking for that best option, that weakness to try and exploit. 2nd down and 10. Eugene will go the other way to Tolbert. This time incomplete. Terrific effort on the pass breakup by Demetrius Derrico, and it looked like Tolbert had another touchdown catch.
That was a good job by Demetrius Derrico. You know, the rover, a strong safety position, normally not known for his coverage ability, but look at him outside playing well. He lets his receiver get by him, but what? Oh, nice job. That right-hand karate chop. LT made it famous on quarterbacks, Lawrence Taylor, that is, but that was a nice job by Derrico at timing it. And don't hit the ball up. Young players try to hit it up, and that gives the receiver a second chance. You hit it down, you cannot double catch a ball that's going down fast.
Timeout's going to be called here on 3rd and 10 from the 19-yard line with 18 seconds to go. And a 19-7 lead for Grambling State with the football.
They've dodged a lot of bullets, Alabama State has on this.
Yes, they have.
Wow.
We talked about Bruce Eugene breaking all of Doug Williams' records. Let's take a look back at the young Doug Williams from his college days back in the mid-70s, where he won 3 national championships, and then as the head coach for Grambling State for 6 seasons. He's now moved on to the front office with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Perhaps most remembered for that Super Bowl MVP performance with the Washington Redskins.
Well, remember those bright orange unis he had at Tampa Bay? But they said he threw the ball so hard. Now, Elway is known to break a few guys' hands, but they said Doug Williams would just take your hands off. I mean, you didn't want to catch many of his balls. And Bruce Eugene also can throw the football well. You think of the quarterbacks and the minds that they've had going through. Melvin Spears, a former quarterback, Doug Williams. And now it doesn't hurt to have those people around a guy like Bruce Eugene and learn some of that knowledge.
All right, 3rd down and 10. comes some pressure off the edge. Eugene fires it across the middle. Touchdown. The perfect strike from Eugene to Reginald Jackson for the score.
No one else could catch it except Reginald Jackson, but they had gone again. They had found that they could go against Chris Dupuis. And that's why you have your quarterback making calls, because he knows if we get into a certain area, there's a weakness on the defense. And they found it in Chris Dupuis, not taking anything away from him. But when you have to cover a receiver or scat back running backs, you're going to normally lose that battle.
47 seconds to score again. And the extra point is blocked.
But offsides on that side by the defenders.
And there is a penalty flag. Derrico was the one that got the block. Here's the third touchdown of the day for Bruce Eugene.
Well, and they should have scored it 2 times ago because they and this is going to be offsides. This is why the block kick. Derrico was offsides, and they're going to give another opportunity to Grambling.
2 touchdowns in the last minute 30 of this first half for Grambling State in what had been a 12-7 game, and the momentum was on the other side of the field with the Hornets. And now after the penalty is assessed, halfway closer to the goal line, they're going to try for 2. Abquan gets the carry, and he won't get there.
Gresham, the first guy on the scene, stopping that. This offense can score awful quick. 10 seconds left. You also know Grambling gets the ball back in the second half. So a lot of work, a lot of adjustments need to be made by Alabama State. But that offense for Grambling, just wow. Billy Gresham just gets in there so quick. No one even has a chance to put a hand on him. And basically everything was stopped up. They wanted to go back to that side, but didn't have a chance. And, you know, there you go. Coach Melvin Spears has to be congratulating his guys. They've done a very good job on the last couple of drives.
14 points in a minute, not even a minute and a half. Behind the play of Bruce Eugene, one of the leading candidates for the Walter Payton Award, the Division I AA Heisman Trophy. Jay Peck, one of the deep men. And it will head towards Desmond Foster instead. Across the 20. Foster to the 30. Run out at the 35-yard line with 4 seconds left here in the first half. Landry Carter chased him out of bounds.
And Beth, you clearly know that before the season, Tavares Jackson was given the preseason SWAC Offensive Player of the Year mention. But Bruce Eugene and folks at Grambling had the tendency to think, no, that wasn't going to be the case with our quarterback. So Tavares Jackson has a long way to come back in the second half, but they need a win more than anything to get into that position for the SWAC championship.
They can mathematically lose this game and still get in, but they'd rather take care of their own business and get the win. And a flag thrown at the end of the play, so that perhaps will not be the end of the first half just yet.
Got a lot of penalties in this first half as well.
Keldrick Williams was the ball carrier. Looks like it's going to be against Grambling, so another play here for Alabama State. It was a face mask, so this is a doozy. Down to the 42-yard line, and a chance here for the Hornets to go for the end zone.
Half can in on the defensive penalty, so let's see. They're bringing in the big, tall receivers now. Here's an opportunity if you're Alabama State. Rocket.
Let's look for number 10, Lorenzo Hoffman, who stands 6 feet 6 inches. And he is not out there right now, but they do have 4 wideouts in the game on what should be the last play of the half. Jackson launches. And too much on it through the end zone. And that will now take care of the first half of play. An impressive finish for Grambling State. A minute and a half ago, it was 12-7. Now it's 25-7. in favor of the Tigers. And Grambling State unbeaten in SWAC play, looking to stay that way. Bruce Eugene, 3 touchdown strikes through the air in the first half. We're at the half in Montgomery, Alabama. Grambling State leading Alabama State 25-7. It was a terrific finish. The last minute and a half, Grambling State putting up a couple of touchdowns. 243 total yards for the Tigers, 162 for Alabama State. 6 penalties apiece. And Alabama State trying to get it done on the ground, 140 yards rushing. The quarterback comparison, 155 yards for Bruce Eugene, and for Tavares Jackson, 3 of 12, just 22 yards and the 1 pick.
Well, when you have Tavares Jackson, you need him to play better. He had about 3 or 4 drops in that first half as well, Beth. But also the running game, only one time did they run very well with Robert Randolph. Bruce Eugene, they took control of the game, and they really did a good job. And at that end, they really came on strong.
Eugene winning the quarterback duel, and Grambling State winning on the scoreboard, 25-7. Back with the third quarter after this. With the lead, 25-7, and Charles, early on, Alabama State defending against the pass, so Grambling State got the job done on the ground. They
really did. They started running the football well, and when they did that, it put Alabama State in a disadvantage, because not only can they run the ball effectively, Grambling, it is, they can throw it. And I think what it did is give the ball to Quan and make him run the ball effectively, and then when you try to throw the football, you're able to do that. However, Alabama State capitalized for just a short period of time, but 2 big throws down the field, and you can see why Grambling is so far ahead and why they're so good.
3 touchdown passes for Eugene, 2 of them coming in the final minute and a half of that first half of play.
Well, clearly, when you have a team like Alabama State, they didn't get the ball back in this half, and it's bad for them in that regard. But Grambling just knows how to effectively move the ball down the field and do the things that are necessary, whether it's running or passing.
After winning the opening toss and deferring to the second half, Grambling State will start out with the football. And the kick headed towards Landry Carter, and he will bring it out of the end zone. Carter, nice cutback, gets across the 20, and he's on his way. 1 man to beat the kicker, slows him down just enough. And his mates come and knock Carter out at about the 30-yard line. 71 yards on the return. Marcelino Moss saves the touchdown.
Well, you have bad teams, special teams play, and return game can hurt you. Big plays right away, and you see just a good job by Carter working inside and then just taking the ball down the field. This is why Chris Dupuis was afraid of Carter, because of this kind of ability and those moves that he can make.
Brandon Horace, a wide receiver, also out with the special teams, is the player down for Grambling State. The Tigers coming in first place in the SWAC Western Division. They have already clinched a spot in the SWAC Championship game, which will be on December the 10th at Reliance Stadium in Birmingham, rather, and that game will be on ESPN Classic for a 1 o'clock start. Alabama State coming in today in first place in the Eastern Conference, but a loss would drop them into a 3-way tie with Alabama A&M and Alcorn State, and then they might have to rely on some help to get in. They want to win in to that SWAC championship game.
Well, but if you're playing Grambling State, they're in a position just to pour it on you, and you have to find a way to your guys to fight through this. They need a big turnover on defense if they're going to get back in this ball game, or offensively they have to score quick and furious, or just special teams, and they haven't been able to do any of those today.
Yeah, it obviously was Cornelius Mackey, the injured player, as we see Bruce Eugene, 1 touchdown the first 4 possessions, and then the 2 quick strikes late in the first half. Eugene will keep it right up the middle, strips several tacklers on his way to the 15-yard line.
That's a good play call because everybody is working outside on the blitz and there's no one in the middle of the field. Eugene sees that and he hesitates just long enough to let Gresham get up the field, and everyone misses him. Excuse me, Kerry Frazier on the outside coming free. That was a nicely designed play by Grambling.
Well, and right out of the chute now with the terrific return on the kickoff, they are already 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. Landry Carter is in the backfield with Bruce Eugene. Blitz is coming. Eugene for the end zone. And it's caught for the touchdown. Henry Tolbert again. It's the 4th touchdown pass of the day for Eugene.
You give a guy that much time and your receivers can run down the field. It's a mismatch when Henry Tolbert is being covered by Demetrius Jericho. You don't like to put your safeties in that position, but you don't really have any other opportunities. You have to blitz with some of those guys inside, and you can see the Grambling sideline really happy at this point.
2nd touchdown catch of the day for Tolbert. That's number 11 on the season for Henry. He leads the Southwestern Athletic Conference in touchdown catches. And Grambling State takes all of 49 seconds to add another touchdown, and they are up 32-7. 2 plays and 29 yards set up by the big kick return from Landry Carter. For Bruce Eugene, a couple of plays, 38 seconds is all he needed to score after the big Landry Carter kick return. And Jake Peck takes it out to about the 17-yard line. Eugene, 10 for 19, 170 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Well, when you can start off with a nice long gain like this and just all set up by good blocking, but Landry Carter with moving inside, making all the defense go over, or the return guys, and then that first play, so effective. He sees the blitz coming from the outside, no one in the middle of the field, and then just an easy, nice throw. I mean, he doesn't make it look, he makes it look so easy. Just takes his time, gets it to the right people.
Incredibly efficient is Bruce Eugene. 35 touchdowns this year and 2 interceptions. Tavares Jackson and the Hornet offense now out there. The give is to Robert Randolph. He's out across the 20, and I believe enough to take him over the 2,000-yard mark for his career as Randolph picks up 6 on the carry.
Well, you know, they wanted to try to do this earlier, and they needed him or Keldrick Williams to run better. And Keldrick Williams with the callus issue, and now you can see Robert Randolph starting off this half right away. They need him to have a big half in order for them to even come close to getting back into this ball game.
Randolph over 2,000 career yards. He's number 5 all-time in Alabama State rushing history. And he'll get the call once again. He's close to moving up to number 4 and passing Gene Blanchard into that spot. He's been the guy so far out of the backfield today.
He provided that spark for that one drive where the 7 points came. You know, he was able to give Tavares Jackson breathing room, so to speak, by his legs, and then Tavares Jackson, when he was running, it was open space because of moves like this and power running like that. Look, 4 or 5 guys hit him. You're not going to bring him down easily. And then this is the record-breaking run for him, 2,000.
The senior from Union Springs, Alabama. Play action to Randolph. Jackson will throw, and the catch is made by Desmond Washevsky, the tight end. Jermaine Mills on the tackle. Robert Randolph. So you've got in your backfield with Randolph and Williams now over 5,000 yards rushing in their careers.
Well, Beth, I think they're going to have to do it through the air now. But it gets them a good start, gets them some breathing room now. They can put the ball down, move it down the field. Williams passed the 3,000-yard mark last week. Only Brad Baxter and Rico White have rushed for more yardage than Williams and Randolph. And Gene Blanchard, who Robert is close to passing now into the number 4 spot all time. You know, the thing is, they have not been able to get into situations where they've had long sustained drives except for that one. And You know, they were going well right before Grambling State decided to just really open up the offense again and just quick strike, quick strike. 2 touchdowns back-to-back in that first half.
Randolph again dives out across the 40. And a 5-yard pickup, good for the first down. Jason Hatcher on the tackle for the Grambling State Tigers.
But you know, the one thing about Grambling State, it seems like every time they get a threat, other than that scoring drive, they've really improved their defense. They play in a base formation, but then when they have to, they will come with some blitzes and show you some different looks. Their 2 linebackers are just very solid players. Dimitri Carr, number 54, and David Hicks play with a lot of emotion and enthusiasm and intensity.
They are holding a team that averages 34 points a game to just 7 in the first half, and the pass intended for Marlon Lynch is dropped.
Well, Lynch was losing his balance before the ball came to him. Tavares Jackson just has to laugh, because the same things that make you laugh sometimes make you cry. He was falling and losing his balance before that, and then right when the ball gets to him, he just drops it.
There's how the 2 guys stack up today, one-sided in favor of Eugene. Tavares Jackson, that SWAC Championship game MVP a year ago, guiding them to just the second 10-win season in program history. The handoff on 2nd and long, and Dimitri Carr again in the backfield to make the stop on Robert Randolph.
That was a great play by Dimitri Carr. Read it. You know, you have to have a guy that can do the 2 F's very well at linebacker. And you know, that's normally you want an A grade, but if you give them F grade, flow and then fill. They can flow and then they can fill the hole. That's why he has so many tackles for losses, and even sacks. Normally your middle linebacker doesn't have a lot like that, but look at, you know, he finds a way to get to the football.
There's a hungry Grambling State defense today. They were disappointed with their performance against the Hornets last year when they gave up 37 points and lost. And Luther Palmer, the defensive coordinator, said we had some young guys and just did not finish well. And we wanted to make sure that we finished strong in the second half today to make amends. Jackson takes a big hit and completes the pass out across midfield to Brandon Horace. And Tavares was just leveled when he let this go.
Well, Jason Hatcher gets around his block of Sylvester Hatton and just takes a nice shot on Tavares Jackson. But that was a good catch finally by receiver Brandon Horace. You know, you have 4 of 14 before that pass, but you have 4 or 5 drops. That doesn't help you as a quarterback. He's made some bad throws. Let's put that in there, but still, you got to catch the football.
First down. Jackson will change up the play, go under center. The quick strike out into the flat to Chris Maddox to the 40-yard line. A pickup of 8 on the play. This looks similar to the well-constructed drive they put together to score the touchdown on in the first half.
Yeah, and they're taking their time, and also, too, Grambling is sitting back. They haven't really come with any blitzes. They've shown a little linebacker dog, bringing the linebacker, but for the most part, they've allowed Tavares Jackson to be pretty comfortable, other than that big hit from Jason Hatcher.
Second and a couple. Jackson fumbles the football. And Tavares comes out with it.
Once again, like that play by Bruce Eugene, never really gets the snap, but he's the one that's able to recover it. Normally, that's when you know the quarterback's at fault, because they generally go after it the quickest. That's what the coaches would always say. Or they just know where the ball is once they lose it.
Trying to take that snap from the redshirt freshman Darren Dunson. Now it's 3rd and 2. This is the 11th play of the drive. First possession of the second half for Alabama State. The pitch to Randolph, has to hurry. And it looks like the drive forward got him the first down. A pickup of 5 to the 36-yard line. Zaire Wilburn on the tackle.
Well, I like the drive, but I would like it even more if it was Alabama State at 32 and Grambling at 7, because they are taking a little bit too much time. They have to run the football. They have to shorten the game, but they need to score as often as they can.
Yeah, they still need at least 4 scores to get back in it. Jackson deep across the middle, caught off the juggle by Brandon Horace inside the 20. 20-yard pickup for a first down.
Well, almost another drop, but a good job of concentrating on it. Tavares Jackson, good time. Look at the time that he has there. The receivers are just not doing a very good job, and I think they're a little bit afraid of the Michael Dizer and Jermaine Mills in that secondary, because they have not caught the ball well today.
1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. Randolph is the lone setback. The bunched receivers, 3 of them to the right. Looked like a broken play, and Jackson hauled down from behind by Matt Dewey, the senior from Baton Rouge. Loss of 1 on the play.
Yeah, Tavares Jackson is a little bit banged up the way he comes down. Watch when he's pulled back. That's how you can tweak an ankle and hurt your knee. The only thing that Dewey can grab is just his back and just going to pull him down. The one thing I think to set the tempo early in the game, we talked about why Jared Alford, the first play of the game for Alabama State, has a ball caught, but the Michael Dizer just explodes on him. And ever since then, these receivers haven't been aggressive to the football.
Jackson quickly across the middle. Again, the pass caught by Brandon Horace. Close to the first down. That's the 4th catch today for Brandon.
Well, very good job by the Grambling defense. You get a hat on a hat. You get a bunch of guys there. Right inside. Good throw. But look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defenders. And what I don't see is a lot of pushback from the Alabama State guys. Nobody blocking extra to help him. Maybe if he gets a block and springs him for a touchdown. Brandon Horace is being the guy for them right now.
They scored on their previous trip inside the red zone. Close to 90% for the season. 24 times they've scored in their last 24 trips. Randolph bottled up at the 11. Picks up a couple.
They just bottle Randolph up. He doesn't get a chance to get anywhere on that.
And while this is going on, we are under 6 minutes to go now in the 3rd. Second down from the 5-yard line. Jackson has one-on-one coverage, and they score the touchdown. Alvance Robinson. His 9th score of the year.
Oh, very nice route. Fade stop. Alvance Robinson has struggled catching the ball today, but he didn't show any ill effects right there.
Over 9 minutes off the clock on the scoring drive. And Johnson now on for the extra point. And it is good. 32-14 with 5:05 to go. Robinson, the 5-yard touchdown catch from Tavares Jackson. And the Hornets will send the defense back out there to try and shut down Grambling when we come back. Team Grambling State, but Alabama State getting the touchdown. Alvance Robinson from Tavares Jackson, covering over 80 yards in 9 minutes.
Nice little fade stop. Alvance Robinson just works down the field and then just right behind him. You can see Greg Fawcett just never able to get there to it.
Let's see now if Ricky Billings will kick it in the direction of Landry Carter, who had that 71-yard kick return to set up the last score for Grambling State on its first possession of this second half. Carter from deep in the end zone has another lane up the middle and cut down at the 25-yard line. That hole closed quickly by Javar Bruce. 29 yards on the return. And the injured ASU player is Dion Lewis. To go here in the third quarter. Back after this. Grambling State the lead over Alabama State. And sit back, relax, and watch one of the SWAC's greatest quarterbacks ever. Bruce Eugene, the senior from New Orleans, who has rewritten all the records at Grambling State, passing the legends Doug Williams and James Harris. And his assault continues on the SWAC record books as well. He's got 4 more touchdown passes today, and he's going upstairs again. And it's completed out to the 36-yard line, an 11-yard pickup. And he has really directed this Grambling State offense. 3 touchdowns their last 3 times they've had it.
Wow. You just look at this, and they've been able to just get the ball down the field effectively and quickly on some of these drives. You can see the last one, 2 plays. But that was the last play is a prime example of there were 7 defensive backs, but still he was able to find the open receiver.
Eugene, #1 all-time at Grambling in completions and passing yards and passing touchdowns. And he gets hit and coughs up the football. And an opportunity for Alabama State. Ryan Farnes jumps on the loose ball.
Very good play by Alabama State. With the blitz package coming, you can get to these bigger guys because they can't move as good laterally. And that's just a great job. Derek Governor works inside again, and it's a delayed blitz. Chris Dupuis comes off that corner, and that's a big enough guy to hit. You know, that's a good thing with Chris Dupuis. He goes in an area where he knows he can dislodge the ball, and that's a very good turnover for Alabama State. Now
that evens up the turnover total. Big hit by Dupuis. Farnes jumps on it. And here come the Hornet fans now back in the game. I formation behind Jackson. They're going to go for it. Into the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Alvance Robinson. DeMichael Dizer on the coverage deep.
Well, that's once again, you know, that's a situation where Tavares knows that he's got Alvance Robinson struggling, but he still wants to get him the ball. He's their big play receiver. But as they get closer in, you haven't seen much of Lorenzo Hoffman at 6'6", 210, nicknamed Slim. You would think you would see him more in this area.
2nd down and 10. 3 receivers wide left. Jackson runs right, gets a block inside the 15-yard line, and a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage. And this one's coming back.
James Brown, right guard, holding on Jason Banks. Number 95, the left tackle. Because Banks was calling him out from here. And he should know, his brother's an offensive lineman. Yeah. They've had some battles in the backyard. Now, right inside, you don't see it, but yeah, you can see the takedown as Tavares Jackson goes by. Number 95, Jason Banks, and James Brown is holding him.
Jason Banks is 6'5", 300, the sophomore from Baton Rouge. His big brother Jonathan is 6'8", 360. How about a scholarship for mom and dad, Kevin and Janice, just to cover the grocery bills for those 2 guys?
And they need to own the supermarket with those 2 guys.
2nd and a country mile now for Alabama State. Jackson back to throw. Across the middle and incomplete, almost intercepted. Take your pick. Dizer and Fassett Either one of them could have had it.
Well, you run this play earlier, and it's there, but you don't get it, and you come right back to it. I think you go to the well too many times, and that secondary sees it. Dizer, ball's taken out of his hands by Fassett, and it should have been an interception. But once again, they recognize it. You can't throw that ball too many times.
There's Dizer, a 44-inch vertical we saw on display on that last pass breakup. Jackson now on the day, 8 for 20, 69 yards, a touchdown and an interception, and it is 3rd and long. And he is swallowed by Melvin Matthews on the rush. All the way back outside the 45.
Well, not a chance there for Tavares Jackson, because he was thinking about scrambling. But big old 65, Melvin Matthews holds it there at some time, but eventually you're not going to have that much time. You either have to get rid of the football and go, and Melvin Jackson just gets those bear claws on him and whoom, brings him down.
Sunset on Tavares Jackson on that sack. 6'5", 305, true freshman Melvin Matthews forcing the punt. Fair catch, collision, bodies everywhere. As the punt trickles into the end zone, and now the officials will get together and say, hey, did he run into him, or was he pushed, blocked into him by a Grambling player?
Really looked like up here he was blocked into him. But either way, the receiver in a position that's vulnerable.
Yep. Reginald Jackson, who has a touchdown catch today.
See the gunner going down, and he's going to be blocked. Yeah, he's blocked right into him.
That's Derrico that gets blocked by Horace.
But doesn't make Jackson feel any better.
Very dangerous play, and good to see him walking off on his own accord at least.
Cornelius Mackey for Grambling, #1, is just, you know, knocking. He pushed Demetrius Derrico, but they still call the penalty, and Charles Cole is highly upset. But when you see the replay, it shows he was blocked into him. He's understandably upset, because even the replay shows he was blocked into him. Derrico was.
No instant replay in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. The handoff to Ab Kwan. Picks up 3. And we talked about Eugene tied with Steve McNair for second all-time in SWAC touchdowns at 119. Steve started Alcorn State from 1991 to 94. Over 14,000 yards through the air. Of course, went on to a stellar pro career with Tennessee, now in his 11th season. His status uncertain for a matchup with the Cleveland Browns tomorrow. He's got a back injury. One of the all-time greats in the SWAC.
That's surprisingly about Steve McNair when he came out. A lot of scouts doubted if he could throw the football.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things he did very well at Alcorn State. It was even called Air McNair at the time. But they thought he was more of a runner as opposed to a quarterback. So 11 years later, oh well.
Yeah, he can throw it all right. Second all-time with Eugene Willie Totten, who is now the head coach at Mississippi Valley State, has the all-time touchdown passing record in the SWAC. And Chris Maddox into, or check that, Henry Tolbert into Alabama State territory.
Missed tackles galore. When you have those, that's what provides big plays. You have blitzes coming. That means it's matchups one-on-one. You got to make that tackle. Derrico misses it, and Tolbert takes advantage of it.
Another good outing for Henry Tolbert, the junior from Birmingham, one of the top receivers in the SWAC and in all of Division I AA. Flag on the snap. Once again, Grambling already into the SWAC championship game. Of course, they have the big Bayou Classic still left on the schedule, Thanksgiving weekend against Southern. That game's been moved from New Orleans to Houston and Reliant Stadium. The penalty will be against Grambling. In the Eastern Division, Alabama State is in first place, but a loss today would even them up in the loss column with A&M and Alcorn State and jeopardize their chances of defending their SWAC championship they won a year ago. Grambling has already secured a bid from the Western Division. They'll be in that matchup December 10th in Birmingham on ESPN Classic. First down and 15 to the air. Incomplete, intended for Abquan, and we're going to have a holding penalty against Grambling. The line judge, the umpire, the referee, I think even the back judge saw that one from 40 yards away.
There's 5 offensive linemen and 3 of them held, so pick which one you want. Oh, man. You know, now they're gonna see a replacement come in, Bryce Brown, getting an opportunity to come in and play for Derek Governor, who's getting pulled out. Now, he's the one that Coach Spears saw. He's trying to run away from West Virginia. He's trying to run away from him.
Melvin's chasing.
But he walked him down. He walked him down.
Oh. He went as far away from Melvin Spears as he could. And Melvin said, not so fast. As a senior, you ought to know better. Grambling is the most penalized team in the SWAC at about 10 per game for over 100 yards. Draw to Quan. And Ab rumbling close to the first down, almost gets it all back to the 35-yard line. Gain of 23 on the carry.
I bet that play has been there all game. And when they finally put an opportunity, and it comes behind Bryce Brown. 64. Nice block inside, and he's going to work up and just does a good job of making sure and securing Jamal Johnson just enough so Ab Quan could get in there with a nice run.
5 receivers. Eugene on the keeper, looking for the sneak for the first down. It will depend on the spot at the 34-yard line.
Looks like where the officials run in, it should be a first down.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a young man that is from New Orleans. His family home destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. Several of his family members, including his mom Zena, are staying with Bruce off campus near Grambling State. His younger brother is also a Tiger. He'll be trying out for the basketball team this year. And we will head to the 4th quarter when we return to Montgomery. Bruce Eugene, one of his 4 touchdown throws on the day. It's all Grambling State. To go for Melvin Spears and Grambling State to stay perfect in the SWAC. They come in 6-0, 6-1 overall on the season. Still in contention for the Black College National Championship. They are ranked number 2 in the nation right now, behind Hampton, who's unbeaten so far this year.
And Hampton has been very impressive as well. You know, you have 2 teams like this with a lot of offensive firepower, and their defenses are good as well.
The only blemish on the record was to a Division I power, Washington State, earlier this year. And oh, what a catch made by Brandon Horace, reaching behind himself and the defender to haul that one in. Or check that, Cornelius Mackey.
Does a great job of just going up and getting the football, running down on that seam route. And look at that. Demetrius Derrico never turns around, but he does. And look at the throw. I mean, he puts it over that shoulder of Derrico, and just a nice catch by Mackey.
Top 10 job right there by Mackey. 1st and 10 from the 10-yard line. The throw to the end zone and dropped at the goal line, stripped out of there, I should say. A nice defensive effort by Desmond Foster. Tim Abney could not hang on.
Well, Cornelius Mackey's one of those transfers out of Fresno State. New Orleans, Louisiana native. Just a nice play right here. Desmond Foster just grabs the ball and just takes it out. Abney, a little bit smaller tight end at 6'1", 210. Gives you matchup problems. More of an H-back type, but very effective. This is his area.
Second down from the 10. Play action. Eugene rolling. Feeling the heat. Launches that one backwards, and we're going to have a grounding penalty on Eugene. Dupuis leading the charge along with Bobby Coleman. But let's go back to that throw into the end zone. Remember, all you need is possession and breaking the plane of the goal line. And does Abney have it? And well, it looks like Foster did a nice job.
Yeah, he did. If he had one more step, it was close, but that was just a good play by Foster. Very good play by Foster. And Melvin Spears is working him. He doesn't stop. He works the officials. He'll work his players. He's on them, but he also shows good appreciation and affection for him. Every time a guy has gone down, I've seen him on the field.
If I may paraphrase, I believe, Bruce, that was your fault on that play, is what Melvin Spears just said.
Tough love. But both of these coaches are, you know, Charles Cole also, they've been places as well, and they understand how to coach the game of football.
It's third down and goal. Eugene has Carter behind a defender, and the pass is picked off. Terrific play by Desmond Foster. Steals that one in the end zone.
Well, that was a great job by Desmond Foster. You know, making a play earlier. Now he saves a touchdown on Abney, and he comes back. And this is just a nice interception. Now, he does a good job of tipping it up. I said earlier, if you're a defensive back, generally you want to knock it down. But here, he knows he has a chance. That was an outstanding play. One hand, knocks it up, and then knocks it to himself. Earlier, when Spears was going at Bruce Eugene, it just made me think of time when coaches, you'll go to the sideline looking for sympathy, and it's like, no, you were wrong.
That is just the third interception thrown all season by Bruce Eugene as Foster gets the pick. Jackson will hand it off to Keldrick Williams. Not much doing there. Back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. I think that was Matt Dewey. Yes, it was on the tackle. Defensive front has been solid. Dewey, Banks, Zachary, and Hatcher blowing things up.
Well, but Alabama State has to give themselves a chance, Beth, because when you get a turnover like this, you need to score points. And they can't take their time marching down the field. They have way too much ground to make up.
They got to go. Trailing by 18 points with 13:40 to go. Pass is complete, out of bounds to stop the clock to Tavoris Boyd.
I'm really surprised they didn't go back to the no huddle. You know, they were doing the hurry up in the first half, and it worked well for them. But now they're still taking their time. They're taking way too much time, to me, when they're so far behind.
Let's see if they start running some more of these out routes to get out of bounds to stop the clock.
Well, I know what they have to do here. They're trying to get the first down, so they're their big package in.
Williams is out there behind Marlon Lynch. Horace, the man in motion. Williams has the first down to move the chains. Picks up 4 on the play.
Well, you clearly, good job by Marlon Lynch. ISO blocking, and maybe they'll go to a hurry-up offense, but also, too, if they get into fourth down situations, they have to go for it.
Pressure coming, passes away, completed to Boyd. Corralled and thrown out of bounds to stop the clock again. Pickup of 10 out to the 43-yard line, right at the first down marker.
He just ropes him, brings him down. He just gets him and just like a steer takes him down.
Michael Dizer. That is a very good secondary that we've watched from Grambling here today. Dizer on the coverage again. Pass intended for Boyd.
They've just been around the football every time a receiver catches it. There's no receiver that has open space and ability to move. And when they played man, they played it very well. they've given a little bit of ground, but they've also been there to maybe knock the ball down, or if the guy catches it, they make the sure tackle.
They have played with the mentality that their defensive coordinator, Luther Palmer, displayed talking with us earlier in the week. We said, what do you hope for against this very good Alabama State offense? And he said, we hope their bus doesn't break down on the way to the game because we want to take them on. This is a big challenge for us. The bus made it, and they've been up to the challenge defensively. Antonio Hughes on the stop. Loss of 3 on the play.
If Hughes had gotten away from one player, he had about 10 others to take on. I mean, Hughes with a nice tackle, but if he hadn't made that tackle, there were 5 other Grambling defenders right there waiting.
They have not been able to get the ball downfield through the air with the deep ball against this Grambling State defense. And now time really working against them. Jackson's going to have to keep it. May have gotten back to the original line of scrimmage. That's it.
Well, the last 2 plays, they wanted to go down the field, but you know what they've done? They have come up and forced them into a situation where it's a blitz. And they don't have as much time, so they can't get the deep throws. Their receivers haven't caught the ball well down the field. They used up time, and now they're going to punt it away.
So the punter goes out there on 4th down. Anthony Johnson will boot it away. Landry Carter is the deep man inside his own 20. Low, short kick. Off a couple of bounces, Carter will scoop it up. Gets by the first wave of tacklers out to the 40-yard line. .11:42 to go. Grambling State in front, and they've got the football when we come back. Charles Coe concerned about what's happening on the field because at this point it looks like they will fall to 6-2 in the conference and may have to rely on some help now to get them into the SWAC championship with just 2 games left on the schedule.
Well, and you have a long, you know, when that Alabama A&M game seemed to be the turning point for them, because if they win that game, that just gives them, you know, that gives them the Eastern Division per se. But now, not only having lost that game, but the way they're looking today, and not the tempo in this 3rd quarter or the second half should have been no huddle, I think, right away, because they did a very effective job when they ran it in the first half.
Eugene and the Grambling State offense back out there. Ab Quan on the carry, close to midfield. Yeah, the tiebreak situation. Alabama State beat Alcorn earlier this year. Alabama A&M has the win over Alabama State, and then A&M plays Alcorn next weekend. And Alabama State at this point now will start rooting for a 3-way tie. They don't want to finish tied with Alabama A&M. They lose out on that.
Yeah.
A 3-way tie, it gets into point differential and things like that, and they are in much better shape. Of course, it's still on Alcorn and A&M to win out the rest of the way. Ruben Mays rumbles inside the 15, stumbles to the 35.
Well, Beth, that was a good call by Bruce Eugene, because he saw everyone on the left side, or his left or his right, and he just walks up to the line and makes sure that Ruben Mays knows the play and gives him the football. And running behind big Jonathan Banks.
Yeah.
Banks will swallow up a whole lot of folks, and then Ruben Mays isn't a little guy in his own right either.
That guy gets going downhill. You need one of those emergency truck pull-offs to slow him down.
He will run over you.
Transferred from Tennessee a few years ago, a big physical runner, an inspirational guy for this Grambling team, even when he wasn't able to play the last few weeks. Quan sheds tacklers to the 20-yard line, 1st down. Demetrius Derrico on the stop, 16 yards on the pickup. And Quan is now over 100 yards on the day. ESPNU's college football coming from the Cramton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. Beth Mowins along with Charles Arbuckle for a pivotal SWAC showdown. Grambling State and Alabama State. The Tigers in white, the Hornets in the black and gold. And another impressive performance by Bruce Eugene, the quarterback for Grambling State. They're closing in on 400 yards of total offense. And Eugene has 4 touchdown throws today, giving him 35 now on the season.
Well, this defense for Alabama State has been out there a long time. You can see them starting to bring in some substitutions because their defensive guys have to be tired. You know, you have these big old offensive linemen for Grambling leaning on you if you're a defensive lineman, but also too, you know, speed or no speed, traditional speed or whatever. It seems like Grambling has figured out how to get to them.
On second down, called about 8 from the 18-yard line. Eugene will hand off to Quan. You know, when you're preparing for a Grambling State game, you sit down and you talk with the coaches. Obviously, the emphasis is on the passing game, and Melvin Spears and his guys are always quick to point out, hey, we're pretty balanced. We can do things some different ways, and they have shown that. I've been impressed with the balance of this attack. They've shown the long, sustained drive behind the rush, and they've also shown that quick strike ability through the air.
They really have, and I think that's the reason why they have been so good this year, because they can do so many things well. They rely on Bruce Eugene's arm, but Quan is right there in the mix, and then you can see why Ruben Mays, it's good for them to have him back as well.
They've been able to pound away with that big group up front, the big size advantage. And they've gotten a terrific performance from the defensive unit as well today, as Eugene was hit as he released that one, intended for Moses Harris. And Bruce is over there talking with his tight end, Tim Abney, saying, hey, I don't need to take that kind of hit late in the game, Tim. How about a little help?
Chris Dupuis again coming in. They're timing that blitz perfectly. Tony Pierce and his staff, when they've gotten to Bruce Eugene, it's been good, but it's been far and few in between.
Tim Manuel had a couple of field goals in the first half. He's hit from 47 and 32 today. Now we'll split the difference and go from 37 on this one. And off the right upright, no good. Grambling State comes up empty on that drive, but they still have the 18-point lead with 8.5 minutes to go. One of the few miscues on the day for Grambling State as the kick from Manuel doinks. Grambling State 32, Alabama State 14 here at the Cramton Bowl in Montgomery. The Tigers, an impressive performance so far, and now Alabama State will really have to hurry things up with just 8:24 to play in the ball game. Tavares Jackson working out of the shotgun. The pass incomplete. And a flag thrown at the end of that play. Greg Fassett can't believe it. He thought he timed that one perfectly.
Thought he got right there as the ball was there. But once again, that good tight coverage. He's there as soon as the ball. That was a
great play.
That was a very good play. I can see why he was so upset.
Fassett, the junior from New Orleans.
Yeah, but that's amazing that with all the things that were going on with Hurricane Katrina and all the New Orleans natives on this team, they've kept it together. They've kind of used that, I think, as a rallying cry.
1st and 10 after the penalty. Jackson deep across the middle, caught outside the 40-yard line to Tavares Boyd. 17-yard pickup.
You can see why Tavares Jackson is so effective. Nice throw. Look at that ball right where it needs to be. Receivers finally catching the football much better, but very good look at Tavares Jackson from behind and what he reads when he's looking down the field.
Jackson's numbers now 12 for 25, 104 yards with a touchdown and a pick. But as you mentioned, several dropped footballs by his receivers. He's usually at about 63% completion rate. He's under 50 right now against this good Grambling State defense. Keldrick Williams on the carry. Good tackle by Joshua Bester.
He does get there, and if he doesn't get there, Keldrick Williams has some running room. He works inside, hesitates just enough. Bester could have gotten caught up by Ryan Beneby, but he waits, hesitates just long enough, and gets out and makes a nice open field tackle.
Jackson deep down the middle, completes it to Maddox all alone. And he was given the time by a terrific block by Keldrick Williams in the backfield picking up the blitz.
You know, you see it so often from number 2 with he just gets you, makes sure people gets off of his quarterback. Now, nice throw. You know Dizer's going to come over and hit you. You better be ready, but good catch by Maddox.
They love that about Williams. Not only can he run, but he can pass protect as well. And that pass almost picked off behind the intended receiver, and Greg Fassett nearly jumped on it.
Poor throw there by Tavares Jackson, puts it behind his receiver. But you know, the other thing, Beth, is that you're finally starting to see the receivers go and be aggressive to the football, which they weren't earlier. Maybe way too late, but that's what they needed them doing earlier on when they were having those drop passes.
Jackson sidearms this one to his receiver Brandon Horace. DeMichael Dizer on the tackle after the short pickup stays on the field. Clock continues to move.
We saw Bruce Eugene earlier. Now we see Tavares Jackson almost falling, slipping on the field turf, but still getting it off. Strong arms, both of these guys. You know, Bruce Eugene has really put up the numbers, and having seen Tavares Jackson before, I hadn't had a chance to see Bruce Eugene except on film, but he's been very impressive today.
Jackson deep across the middle at the goal line and in for the touchdown. Chris Maddox. 17 yards for the score, and now it's a 12-point game with 6:19 to go.
But as soon as we say how good Bruce Eugene is thrown, that was a nice throw. And I think you have to take into account for Tavares Jackson and receivers and some of the misses or drops they've had today. But that was a very good throw. And Chris Maddox in this drive has been very effective. Long play down the middle, and now that touchdown.
Anthony Johnson on for the extra point. And it is blocked. The special teams problems continue for the Hornets the second week in a row. They have been hurt by gaffes on the special teams.
Well, and I'm a little surprised, too, with a 12-point lead that they didn't go for two. Go for two.
Here's the strike. Jackson, 17 yards to Maddox. 6:22 to go. Yards in just over 2 minutes. Alabama State with the touchdown. Tavares Jackson to Chris Maddox. And then the decision to go for 1 instead of 2. You get 2 points there, and it's a 10-point game.
I really thought that's what they were going to do, because you're in a situation now where you have the momentum, and you struggled with PATs.
Across the 25, the 30-yard line. Still on his feet and going is Keontae Gray. Out across the 40-yard line. And we hate to bring this up for Hornet fans, but if we go back to last week, a couple of missed PATs, a failed 2-point conversion, and now the blocked PAT here as we go back and revisit that last touchdown for the Hornets.
Well, Tavares Jackson has his eyes locked in on Chris Maddox. Looks outside for just a second, but finds him. But clearly, with an opportunity to cut the game to 10 points, why not? Because you struggled in that kicking game. Your kickers haven't fared well. I think 2 points is much easier. The way your offense is playing, at least right there.
You can still get there with 2 touchdowns, but obviously you need a couple of big stops here now from the defensive unit. Eugene Under pressure, ball is loose. And the Hornets had it and then lost it. Oh, my goodness.
You can hear coaches all around.
Opportunity for Bobby Coleman to just fall on it, and he tried to scoop it up and score.
You can hear coaches around America. Fall on the ball, kid. Fall on the ball. Because when you make this play here, this puts you right back in the ball game. Good job. We got to give credit there to Jonathan Banks.
Yep.
77. Watch what he does. He reaches down, and that's just enough to stop Coleman from picking it up cleanly. Good heads-up play by the left tackle. So, I mean, you can look at it and say Coleman should have had that, but that was a nice play by that offensive lineman as well.
Oh, that was the chance that Alabama State was looking for.
And see, most guys would give up on that play. That's why for a lineman, he reaches out. That's why you never give up. Never till the whistle snaps.
There's an all-SWAC performer and a 3-year starter in the senior Jonathan Banks, getting the hand in there to knock it loose.
And I think they're arguing that Bruce Eugene never had the ball.
I think what they're saying is a change of possession. Grambling State has it first down and 10. Coleman had it, and then Grambling State got it back.
Oh, but he never had possession of the ball.
Yeah. The handoff. Quan. First down and more. Quan across midfield and into Hornet territory.
Yeah, but he never had possession of that football. Quan, nice run. A good play by Frazier of knocking the ball out. He never has possession.
Yeah, Coleman doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't have possession of the football. But I think it really doesn't matter at the end of the day because they gained so many yards, so much more yards with Quan on that play.
Yeah, regardless of what down it was, Quan would have picked up another first on that carry. 26 yards. Fine outing for Ab Quan. 133 yards now on the day for the senior from Sylacauga, Alabama. Mays, 2 guys couldn't take him down. 2 more try, and they are successful. No gain on the play.
Well, Ruben Mays, you get him inside, he looks like next to some of those linemen, just as big as him, but he runs well. And then Ambassador Quan, look at this rushing today. I like that.
Nice Jerry Maguire. 7 yards a carry. Not too shabby.
Show me the money.
The game plan was for Alabama State to establish the run and force defensively, try and force Grambling State out of their passing attack. They did that and made Grambling run, and Grambling ran on.
Well, and Beth, if you have that turnover right there, you just don't know what can happen. Jonathan Banks is going to get a lot of kudos from his coaches as well as other players, because a lot of times if you give up on a play and Coleman may get that ball and he scoops it and goes back for 6, you just never know.
We've got some women's college soccer coming your way with 3 conference championships on Sunday afternoon. Actually, it'll start out Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern with the SWAC Championship, Mississippi Valley State and Jackson State. Then we'll head to the Ohio Valley for Eastern Illinois and Sanford. And finally at 3 Eastern, the Missouri Valley, Creighton and Drake. Women's college soccer triple header on ESPNU Sunday beginning at 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. And if you do not already have ESPNU, make sure you call your local cable operator or satellite provider to get it. Grambling State with a couple games left on the schedule, Concordia College, and then the Big Bayou Classic November 26th with Southern in Houston this year.
They bring the Classic to where a lot of folks are related to a lot of those folks in New Orleans in that area, so it's almost like home. A lot of Grambling and Southern graduates in that Houston area.
Play action, Eugene. Pass incomplete, intended for Terrion Rogers, the fullback coming out of the backfield. And that'll stop the clock with 3:50 to go.
Alabama State clearly had some opportunities today. If they look back on this game, the game is not over yet, but you know, the way Grambling has played and defensively, they've done such a good job. That, you know, what you need here, if you're Alabama State, is a big return. That gives you another opportunity to onside kick and do a couple of other things, because clearly 2 scores are needed.
Perhaps they can turn around their misfortune on special teams with a big play here. Jay Peck is back deep. Manuel will punt this one away. Peck with the fair catch. It drops at the 5 and trickles in. Alabama State will have 80 yards to go. Right now, Grambling in second in the American Sportswire Black College poll behind Hampton. Alabama State sits in the 4 spot nationally.
And if the game stays the way it is, they'll drop some after today.
And they've got, look at Tuskegee coming in at number 6. That's their Turkey Day Classic matchup on Thanksgiving. So certainly doesn't get a whole lot easier on the schedule. Jackson going to run with it. Out of bounds to stop the clock at the 31-yard line. Pickup of 11 on the play.
Well, Tavares Jackson again showing some nice move when he moves when he's gotten outside, just moving around and making sure to not worry about getting hit, but also freezing guys with the move that he's pointing out.
We will also see Bethune-Cookman on that top 10 poll. They'll be playing Florida A&M in the Disney Florida Classic later this month. Pass incomplete. Intended for Brandon Horace.
Brandon Horace had to be a shortstop on that play. The ball comes a little too low, trying to scoop it out of the dirt. Jackson felt some heat, so as soon as he did, he tried to get the ball out. Never did set his feet.
Jackson to throw. Incomplete. Deep across the middle. Intended for Tavares Boyd.
David Hicks provided major pressure on that play. No, he was looking for Tavares Boyd, but if he had waited any longer, the ball would have been implanted in his chest, because Hicks was on a mad rush. And you can see Tavares Jackson calling out the play, but it also looked like he was emphatic about giving me some protection.
He'll work out of the gun again with 4 receivers. Randolph is in the backfield with him. Jackson, quarterback draw. Bounces outside the 45 to the 46-yard line. Matt Dewey on the tackle. Pick up a 14 for Tavares.
Well, Bethany, a few weeks ago when they played Jackson State, he banged his knee up, and you can see when he stops right here, that may still be affecting him because he has a sleeve on his knee. Hadn't shown major ill effects, but you can see he's not able to run at certain points. Kind of hesitates when he gets inside or when it's close to people being around him.
Complete to Tavares Boyd. Clock stops at 3:03 at the ASU 49-yard line.
As quarterback coach, a former NFL player, Reggie Barlow. He's really done a good job of working with Tavares and getting him in, understanding, and he's had a lot of experience playing the game of football.
Pass is caught inside the 40-yard line. That'll stop the clock temporarily to move the chains. Alvance Robertson picks up 12 on the play.
That was a good catch by Alvis Robinson after having struggled today. This is a very hard throw. He really didn't have a chance but to catch the football. But he struggled today and has come back strong here lately. Nice. Now that's slow motion, but see how fast the ball still gets there.
Jackson gonna run with it. Has a beat on the sideline. Takes on a cornerback and muscles his way out of bounds. Greg Fassett on the stop with Dizer. 15-yard pickup.
Chris Maddox had a great block on Joshua Beaster. I mean, he just he came back and just cleaned his clock.
Jackson and company on the move with 2:40 to go. He's rushed for almost 100 yards today. First down from the 22. Looks right, now left, going for the end zone. Has a man out there. Touchdown! Chris Maddox hauls it in.
You know, Beth, we talked about Alabama State having an opportunity. They scored here, and they did it very, very nice on that drive. We were wondering earlier in this half why they were taking their time, but they have fought and come back very, very well. Chris Maddox, nice catch.
2 touchdowns now in a 4-minute span. Tavares Jackson to Chris Maddox both times. 32-27, and they need a touchdown to win it. And that decision not to go for 2 after the last touchdown may still come into play. Good work, though, here in the fourth quarter from Alabama State to get back into this. Trailing at one point early in the third quarter, 32-7.
Well, no matter how you look at it, you can give a lot of kudos to Alabama State for continuing to fight. I mean, they've stayed in it.
Yep.
They have just clawed back into it. We talked about how well Bruce Eugene had played, but Tavares Jackson, he's made some nice throws in this second half. They really weren't providing pressure, and he pump fakes it, and it just allows Chris Maddox to get by and just takes the ball away. That's how I go to the receiver. Good protection, good amount of time. Tavares Jackson, Chris Maddox, TD.com.
For Maddox, touchdowns number 5 and 6 on the season. Landry Carter is the deep back, but I would also stress that deep means at the 30-yard line as opposed to being down by the goal line. Or check that, that's Keontawn Gray. Grambling expecting the onside kick here with 2:34 to play. There it is. Across midfield, it's misplayed by Grambling State, but they had called for the fair catch. And penalty flags are down.
It was a heads-up play by one of the Grambling players, and he's waving. And I think that's why they called the flag, unless it was offside. But I saw someone's hand up waving for a fair catch. Heads-up play by Grambling.
And the reason he can do that, I believe Anthony Johnson did not kick the ball down into the ground. He popped it up in the air, and you can call the fair catch on that.
You know, the ball hits the ground first and then pops up. That's one thing, but if you kick it up right away. Watch the kicker. Ball goes up in the air first. You have to kick it, hit the ground, then pop up.
Real heads-up play by Jermaine Mills. Number 4 is the guy that called the fair catch for Grambling. So it will be Tigers football, but let's keep this in mind. Remember, they scored on the first possession of this second half, 50 seconds into the third quarter. They have not scored since.
And this defense has been providing a lot of pressure. They've been getting after Bruce Eugene. I mean, Tony Pierce and his gang over there have just done a very good job of putting pressure on Bruce Eugene.
Alabama State has 2 timeouts to use. with 2:31 to go. Abquan gets the handoff, bounces to the outside into the secondary and down to the 30-yard line. Picks up 8 on the play.
And see, Beth, the problem is if Alabama State doesn't come back, they let Grambling get so far ahead, and they'll look at this game just like they did last week. You know, we had opportunities, but what did we do? We were up 16-0 last time, and then this time we were in the ball game 12-7, and then the game just got out of hand.
3 for Grambling State, 2 for Alabama State. They will let the clock run here under 2 minutes. It's 2nd and 2.
They got to get a stop. They need a stop. No first down here.
Quan muscles his way forward, and it looks like he's got enough. Bobby Coleman on the tackle.
Great second effort by Quan. Because where he was initially hit, he wouldn't have picked up the first down.
Yep. Official timeout here to stop the clock so they can measure. Well, you talked about the chances that Alabama State has had, and I immediately think of the fumble that Bobby Coleman tried to scoop up and run with instead of falling on it deep in Grambling territory, and the Tigers were able to get the ball back after Banks knocked it away from Coleman.
And that was the one thing we talked about. Alabama State had been in enough close games, but Grambling hasn't. They've had 2 weeks of coasting, so to speak, cruising. They didn't pick up the first down there, still short. And I think sometimes when you get into a game where you get a lead and you kind of take a team for granted, so to speak, this Alabama State ball club has shown a lot of fight, but also just they've stuck with what they planned on doing. Didn't start out well for them, but it's come on strong here in the second half.
And they are short, so it will be 3rd down and less than 1. The clock will start rolling here shortly. 48% on their 3rd down conversions. They're 4 of 10 today. And the clock begins to roll. But the game clock, Grambling State will let that run down and force the Hornets' hand, and now Charles Coe will have to use one of those 2 timeouts. Quite a day for Bruce Eugene, as advertised.
That was a nice pass going off his back foot to Tim Abney. And then just showing that arm again inside. He knows where those receivers are. Reginald Jackson on that one. And then nice move, Henry Tolbert. Big physical receiver, catches the ball, and then afterwards, out of Birmingham, Alabama. 12 Alabama natives on this Grambling team.
13 for 27, 226 yards, 4 touchdowns for Bruce. Also had the 1 pick today, just the 3rd of the season for him. 24-7 as a starter, missed all of last year with an injury, and has come back to guide Grambling State to a 6-1 record, trying to hang on here to go to 7-1. They are already locked into the SWAC Championship game. Their sights are also set on a national title. And a penalty flag from the sideline before the snap. On 3rd down and inches.
Illegal procedure. And this was a call coming straight from the sideline.
From the ASU bench.
Yeah, they called this.
Heads up by the coaching staff over there. They saw something and immediately brought it to the attention of the line judge. And that could be big. Instead of 3rd and inches, now it's 3rd and over 5.
Well, clearly the momentum has swung towards Alabama State.
And perhaps has forced them into a throwing situation here, which could stop the clock again and save them a timeout. Grambling will keep it on the ground. Abquan, he's got the first down inside the 20 and down to the 13-yard line. When they needed the big play, Quan delivered. 20-yard scamper.
And Ruben Mays just had a great block inside. I mean, he's just going to annihilate the linebacker, John Hogan. And, I mean, just crushes him. And Ab Quan getting down the field. That could be the game. Just watch 40 inside. Just a good block. And there's no one touching him. Kerry Frazier tries to come back in late, but by that point, he's down the field. Desmond Foster there to grab him.
Clock running, under a minute to go. Quan can't quite get the edge. Pick up a 1 on the play. Just 1 timeout left for the Hornets, and they will use it right here. Grambling State Tigers on the road in Montgomery. And trying to close out Alabama State.
Well, we talked about Bruce Eugene and his ability, but Ab Quan, got to give him major props today as well. Career high in rushing. Just really doing the job there.
Big outing for Ab Quan, a new career high. That run perhaps the biggest of the day, which may lock this one down. With 45 seconds to go, and Alabama State now out of timeouts. And that's the balance that the Grambling State club was looking for coming in. They've been able to run it effectively. Eugene throwing it effectively.
Well, if you're Alabama State, you'll look back at 2 games on your schedule. Alabama A&M and Grambling State. Where you've had, you had a chance in both games, really. And you look on the end of it, you come out with what looks like will be 2 losses, and unless something happens unforeseen here. But clearly, when you're playing for the championship, you have to take advantage of those opportunities when you get them.
Eugene will let that play clock continue to burn. They're inside 5 seconds now. Hands it off to Quan. Ab shuffles by a couple of defenders, picks up a few yards. May have to run one more play. See when they get it set.
Well, I've been there a lot, Beth, and I've been on the other side, too.
And they will not have to run the play. The game clock now underneath the play clock. And Grambling State gets a big road win in SWAC play. They knock off Alabama State 32-27, improving to 7-0 in the conference, 7-1 overall. And Alabama State will have to perhaps rely on some help to advance to the SWAC championship game. For Charles Arbuckle and our entire ESPNU crew, I'm Beth Mowens. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Grambling State, a winner over Alabama State. Good night from Montgomery.